Hey guys, welcome back to the Eyes on Leafs podcast. It has been a while. I think it's been like a month in between recordings.
Almost, we're getting there.
We've all been very
I mean,
busy.
it is also the Eyes on Leafs podcast, and there's no more Leafs.
There's
so-
no Leafs.
Well, we still do cover the Leafs,
There's
so
been
I mean,
lots of stuff to talk about too with the Leafs. to be
Yeah.
fair.
I had braces
Yeah.
on the last time we did a show.
That's insane.
oh shit, you're right. That's crazy. Okay.
Also,
Anyways.
longer hair.
Yeah, me and
Uh,
Jacob both got haircuts.
Yeah,
We don't care.
We're
No one's
styled
here
out,
to
and we
listen
got
to that.
One
Let's-
ugly Italian dude in the middle. So
Oh, appreciate that. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll keep
me.
my comments about Jacob and Seb to a minimum. So we are here to talk about hockey because that's what we
10
do.
Biggest lies I've ever heard in my life.
On the
What
pod,
the
I'll keep
hell?
them to a minimum. I'll keep them to a minimum.
That's still
On
a
the
lie.
They will hear
Still a
about
lie.
it after. Okay. So yeah, since we've left, Shanahan fired. We were talking about how if we were going to talk about it, and we all decided that we were too lazy and we missed the boat on that. So we are going to let that slide. If you
Yeah.
want one of our outlets on Shanny, I wrote an article last year after the playoffs saying if Shanahan comes back, it is what was the headline? I'll find the headline and I'll bring it up. But it's basically it shows why the Leafs will never win if Shanahan returns, and he returned and we didn't win.
That's a
So-
great indirect way of saying how like everything that the Leafs have needed to do has been true for the past like 5 years.
Yep.
Yeah.
I wrote that last year. Honestly, it might have been close to a year today that I already wrote that article. It might have been a little bit longer than that. But yeah, it's there. I wrote that article, and I still stand by everything I said. I do wish we recorded it earlier so we could really talk about it because I have so many
There's
thoughts on
so
Shandy.
much to talk about with that whole
But-
like that's a what 11-year tenure.
Yeah,
that we
like,
have to kind of just gloss over.
that's on us.
I'm
not
sure.
gonna lie,
Honestly,
but-
I'm sure we're probably gonna bring it up at points. Like,
Well,
we'll
listen, it's
reference-
impossible. It's impossible not to talk about the Leafs in the
Yeah,
last 11
like-
years without him because he has been such a key part in all of it. And
Exactly,
whether
for
people
sure.
realize or not, he was in on every single personnel decision for this team, and
Yeah.
you see it in those behind-the-scenes episodes. And listen, we're gonna talk about a lot today. I think. We're going to talk about all the big topics for the Leafs, and then we'll go into the lead. But I think we're going to talk a little bit about Shanny throughout the Leafs stuff because they're obviously you guys know Marner, all the reports around Marner right now, Knies, JT, all that, everything there. We're going to talk about, and Shanny's had a huge role in having all these guys in Toronto for their whole careers, pretty much. Well, with Mitch, and then obviously JT came in from Long Island. But yeah, let's start off with Marner. Basically, all the reports are that he doesn't want to stay.
Oh my God,
And
that's-
this made me laugh. Apparently, he feels disrespected by the organization. Which, dude,
Where'd you hear that?
I saw that report today. I'm sorry, I should have saved the
No, that's
article.
okay.
No,
that's crazy,
I've
though.
been seeing so much stuff about that the past couple of days. How he apparently feels disrespected. And listen, let's go back a little bit, right? A lot of I understand feeling disrespected by the fan base, but on an organizational level,
Dude, not even. Shut
even
up about the fans.
No. Yeah, I'm gonna
Don't
say
even.
I can like understand it, but I don't agree. Like I think it's warranted. I don't. You can't say that the fan base hasn't disrespected him, but it's warranted. I think.
For
Yeah,
sure.
like, you know what? It's
let me-
honestly,
let's
it might not
clear
warranted
that up.
at the same
What's
time.
warranted is like criticism from the fan base because there's fans.
Yeah,
What's not
obviously.
warranted
I
is,
hate
like,
that people have to be like, oh, I don't condone throwing garbage at his lawn.
yeah, like,
obviously.
obviously,
no one's
obviously,
saying
kinda
that.
obvious,
But
yeah.
like, yeah, that goes without saying.
But-
obviously, people shouldn't be throwing golf balls at his cottage. Obviously,
Yeah.
people shouldn't be throwing garbage on his
Yeah.
lawn.
Yeah,
But like again,
harassing him
let's go
publicly,
back. Let's go back
carjacking
on.
him.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, okay.
That
I
had
didn't even
nothing to
know
do
it was
with the
Mitch.
fan base.
Yeah, like that doesn't even. He didn't even
I
know
don't
who it
think
was.
there
Start
were
Range
Leaf
Rover.
fans
He's like, I
sitting-
want that.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, like
Hey, that's
Any-
not confirmed.
that's what the report was, dude. This guy
Any-
said I have no idea it was Mitch Marner.
Anyways, let's go back to the supposed disrespect Marner feels on an organizational level from the Maple Leafs, right? We take this back to his rookie contract with Lou Lamoriello, right? Gets no Schedule A bonuses. What does Matthews get? Matthews gets all the bonuses. What does Marner get? None of them. some disrespect there, but you know what? You're a rookie. You're just excited to go play, whatever.
You also weren't the first overall pick.
Yeah, exactly. But
I mean,
anyways,
he was the 4th overall pick. It's a little.
whatever. I mean, at the end of the day, like it's Schedule A bonuses.
Also,
Then
it is a bit on Lou too. Like I'm not gonna
It
just
is
sit
on
here and
Lou.
say it's not. Like,
But at the
he was a
same
little
time,
bit
I don't know
stupid
how
there.
you could feel disrespected by the organization when everybody that disrespected you in the organization has been gone for like
True.
8 years.
That's true. It's also like what's that a difference of? Maybe like $200,000, which I mean, to you and I.
Dude, you know what? Listen, I
not
agree
that
with
crazy.
him. Listen, I agree with him that the rookie contract stuff stupid as hell.
It is.
But you got everything you wanted.
No, Mateo,
from that
Mateo,
second on.
Mateo, this is what I was going to get into, right? Then we get into the Mike Babcock stuff. Obviously, Mike Babcock was very, like, unproportionately distasteful and disrespectful to Marner with the list stuff, demoting
never
him
should
to
have
the
happened.
4th line, like, at random moments. You know, a lot of that stuff shouldn't happen. But guess what? They fired Mike Babcock. Like, Mike Babcock has not been the Leafs head coach for... What, we're going into the 7th year?
The other thing
since?
is, can I just say something? Him getting demoted to the 4th line, it happens with rookies. I don't know how you feel. Like, even if you don't agree with it, it comes down to a coaching decision.
Yeah,
and that happens with every rookie ever.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Like that's
how
stuff
you
happen-
feel?
Look at Ken
Matthews
Johnson.
on the third line.
Dude, look at
Matthews
Ken
on the
Johnson.
third line.
Look at Ken Johnson. Ken Johnson
Yeah.
in Columbus was on
AHL.
like a 50-point pace. The guy gets demoted to the AHL.
That
Like
was so stupid, though.
it was
No,
stupid, but like
100%.
this stuff
It's not
happens.
disrespect. Dude, yeah, like it's bad coaching decision, bad order, whatever you want to say. Bad coaching decision, fine. But say it's disrespectful is a little bit of a stretch. I agree with the list. The list never should have happened
Yeah.
again. There's things in this Marner tenure that obviously I would agree with them. The organization didn't handle it properly. But I think honestly the blame is 80-20 from the Marner camp to the organization with that.
100%.
Let me
100%.
I'm just going through
Keep
like the
going, Sam, keep
timeline
going.
here of all these events, right? And then after the Babcock stuff, Matthews signs his extension, the 5-year what was it, 11.634
Yeah.
by 5 years. And then Marner's agent or Marner agents don't do shit unless the player tells them to do something.
Yeah.
So Marner felt disrespected that they prioritized the first overall pick center who was scoring at like a 40-goal pace that season over
In
him.
his rookie year, by the way, he scored 40 in his rookie year.
Scored 40 in his rookie year. Like we're talking,
This contract
you know,
was at the end of in the middle of the 18-19 season, though. I mean,
yeah, he signed it in February. That's why I'm saying he obviously felt disrespected in some way that they prioritized that contract over his. Gets his agent
like,
to go and start spewing this like media
It's a terrible
campaign
deal.
of Matthews
Yeah.
sucks. This deal is awful in the media because
stupid,
because
so
Marner
stupid.
feels disrespected. Again, I want to reiterate this: the agents don't do shit unless the player is fine with it. They don't do anything like that because they're responsible for their PR. So
That's an interesting topic of conversation, though. Because I think,
Marner
there's something,
obviously.
there's
Sorry,
something a
you
little
go,
bit revisionist about it because, like, I don't know if you guys remember at the time, but there honestly was a debate on whether Marner or Matthews was the better player at the time. But then you
A
also
little
have to
bit,
consider
but-
Marner was in the middle of a 90-point season playing on John Tavares' wing.
And
Also,
Matthews
one
was-
is a winger, one is a center, and the other one's a goal scorer, and the other one's a playmaker. There's
Yeah,
obvious
and-
value
And
differences.
Matthews that season had the shoulder injury after Trouba just annihilated him in
Right.
the corner.
And he was
comes
playing
back
with
and he's playing with
Andreas
Janssen and Kappen, and Nylander
Yeah.
was gone for most of that season. And when
Yeah.
Nylander comes back, he looks awful. He like was
Yeah.
barely he was
I
barely
do
at like a
believe
40-point pace that year.
I believe that 40, or did he have like 20 points? Okay, but
He had like 27
Sorry.
points at 50. He was
Played
like
like
barely at a 40-point pace, if that. Like this is the thing. Like
And Matthews was with
dude,
Hyman and Ennis for a lot of
like
the season, I think.
Matthews was the guy, and you have like if you're Mitch, I understand that like you can be confident in yourself and you can believe in yourself that you're a top guy in this league, whatever, that you know you're a top guy on this team, but you have to, as a player, like you have to understand the situation. I feel like, and it just feels really petty and
Dude, you
odd
know what?
to
No,
like
even if you
think,
want to be
like,
mad,
do that.
be mad. You could be mad. I don't care if you're mad that they didn't take your
But
contract.
you're
for-
intentionally sewering your teammate
That's
in
what
the
I'm.
media.
That was about
Like,
to say, dude. You
what are
don't
you
tell your
doing?
agent to go to the media and start a whole media campaign about how terrible the deal is, because apparently that's your best buddy. Because that's
Yeah.
what they always say. We're best friends.
And-
And you went and did that. And then also, like I said, if you want to be mad, be mad. Like one of the most famous athletes ever, Michael Jordan, just made shit up to get himself upset and motivate him.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to be mad about that, be mad if it motivates you. I don't
you
care.
shouldn't go.
But no, you should go to the media.
And maybe it wasn't him who came up the idea with the idea. Maybe it was
signed
Darren
off on
Ferris.
it.
Exactly, he agreed to it. So he goes and does that. Obviously feels disrespected that they prioritize their first overall pick, top line center that is showing amazing promise. It's so bullshit. And
Ends up being
then
the
we
best
proceed.
goal-
Then we
by best
proceed.
goal for an NHL.
Then we proceed to go into that summer, where they get rid of the coach, or not in the summer. They got rid of the coach later, but they give Marner everything he wants in the next deal. That itself should make up.
He also
for
held
the,
out too.
the rookie. He held out until like the day before training camp, was it?
No,
it was a
he
couple
missed
days.
a day of training
Yeah,
camp.
he missed a day of training camp, and the Leafs caved. They gave him everything he wanted. He got everything.
Because
Every
Kyle
possible.
Dubas was awful with contracts.
Full no move
every-
clause.
every
Wasn't even a max
possible-
term.
Every possible thing that he could have had, he got. He didn't even get a full. Well, he didn't get the full no move. He got the full no move in the last 2 years.
You want to know what's the most telling about this situation too? Mitch was making what 11.93, I think it was, or something like that.
10.93.
Was it
10.93. It was like 10.
sorry?
It was like
Right.
10.8, and then it got bumped up to 10.9.
10.93.
whatever.
Sorry, it was his number in junior. I don't know why I said. I always think 11 million because it's right there. That's why I said 11.93.
It was
and then 10.93.
10.893, and then COVID like bumped it up to 9. Or
Yeah.
10.93 or something.
Anyways, the most telling thing about that is the cap has skyrocketed since then, and he is still only going to get like $1 million raise on his next contract. That's how he has not performed up to that level in the playoffs, and he's maybe like met expectations in the regular season, but he's going to get barely a raise with the cap like skyrocketing. So you could tell.
Contract was an overpay initially.
This guy-
too.
Yeah, it was, dude. It wasn't.
Dude, I thought when he signed that contract, it was gonna like set, because if you remember, there were a lot of RFAs.
Nico
that year that
Rantanen
were,
signed that same season too, right?
Yeah,
after.
like there were a lot
Brayden
of
Point
RFAs.
signed for like $6 million after.
Yeah,
that.
he signed for like 6 mil. Miko Rantanen got 9.2, and then we have Mitch Marner out here just like holding out for 10.8. It was like, and the craziest part is that like Miko Rantanen, especially the year before, was like leading the NHL in scoring for the first like 4 months. Like, you're telling me that you, Mitch Marner, deserve more than that? I'm sorry, man. I don't know. But yeah, then we just start getting into this era where he really got everything he could have asked for. He got the A because Paul Marner was bitching about it again. Because what else does that guy do?
Another thing. Also, he complained about his family being brought up in negotiations. Your mom, fine.
Don't
whatever.
include your family in them.
Your dad is the face of your negotiations.
like,
so if
you
you don't want them
include them
included,
in
then tell
it,
them to
man.
fuck off, dude.
Like, if you don't want your family to be a part of the criticism, keep them out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's a valid thing to say. Like, yeah, it's upsetting that like my family is mentioned in this,
100%.
but you involved them
Yeah.
in it, so you're opening up that door. Like, it's your fault. But yeah,
Remember the
at
time
this
that
point,
Mitch
he just
Marner scored 0 goals in back-to-back playoff runs.
yeah.
Yeah.
But no, and then he just starts getting catered everything he wants. He gets the A that he wants, gets the playing time with Matthews that he wants.
Dude, they
gets
split the A
everything.
just so his feelings weren't hurt. He got to like.
He gets everything he could have asked for. And I'm sorry if you genuinely feel this disrespected because of things that happened in your first 3 years on this team. I don't know
Grow
what
up.
to tell you. You never wanted to be. You never
Grow
wanted
up,
to be
dude.
here. You never wanted to be here. I'm sorry. Like,
Grow up.
if you're
Like-
if you're actually upset about that, you're just too scared to say you never wanted to be here. Like,
Let's play a fun little guessing game, trivia in the middle of the podcast. How many goals does Mitch Marner have in his last 50 playoff games?
5.
Good guess, Mateo.
I'm gonna go 4.
Okay, you guys are both wrong. It's 8. It's still bad
8?
though.
I saw something.
bad.
I
It's
saw
not
50
something.
games.
I saw something on the Stanley Cup, or on Game 6 of the Stanley Cup final, after the game ended, that Sam Reinhart had a 4-goal game. Insane, right? Yeah. Sam Reinhart scored more goals in that one night than Mitch Marner has scored in the last 2 years in the playoffs. Sorry.
Holy shit.
And you could say whatever
I think
you
it was
want
the
about,
past 3 series.
he's not a goal scorer, whatever. Like, he's a playmaker.
I don't
But
care.
even then,
I
he
don't
doesn't
care.
perform
I
well in the
don't care.
playoffs.
I
And
don't
when you
care.
make that dollar amount, you have to. Sometimes you have to score. And that's my
that dollar amount. You score when you have that dollar amount. This is
Yeah.
Artemi Panarin, that guy scores.
Yeah.
Let me go.
Well, if you're getting paid that much as a winger, you can't be a playmaker. And that was like that.
100%.
It's like you have to be able to put the puck in the back of the net. And
Wingers
Mitch,
that-
the most frustrating thing about
wingers that
Mitch
are, like-
is he's capable. His shot is so much better than
You've
people
seen
give
it.
him
That
credit
guy's
for.
that guy's a 30-goal scorer.
Yeah. Yeah.
He scored-
When you
he
take him
scored-
off
he
the
has a career
Matthews
high-
wing and he's forced to shoot, that guy is a good goal scorer. Like he's not a snub.
He's
or-
got a
or
career
he's
high
not,
of he's got a career high of 35 goals. Like he's no slouch when it comes
Yeah.
to goal
Like,
scoring.
wingers that make that much money and are like, it really is about the money. Like wingers that make that much money, when you think about it, Patrick Kane, Alex Ovechkin, Artemi Panarin, like these are the type of guys that Mitch Marner is on par with when he makes. And when I say this
at
amount of
dollar
money,
value.
that dollar value, I'm more talking about cap percentage, like
Cap percentage is different. Yeah.
because I think the most Ovechkin's ever made is 9.5, but in relation to the
Yeah.
time frame, whatever, you know what I'm talking about. Like, you have to perform when it matters the most, and I mean, I think there's room for criticism for Artemi Panarin here because
He hasn't been that great either. Like in the last few couple of years, like
that's true. It's a bad example, but at least his career high in goals is 49.
yeah.
So
No, like
71
Panarin at
assists.
his best is better than Mitch. Like I don't know, like
100%.
yeah, like I don't think that's a debate. But anyways, moving on from like, well, no, I want to see on Mitch, but then now I want to move on to like the fan perspective of it. Because if you feel, listen, to be honest, I do kind of agree that sometimes he gets more criticism than everybody else, and it may be a little bit unfair. Like I think sometimes Matthews kind of slides by the criticism a little bit. But if you remember the series where they got criticized the most, it was Montreal, and Matthews was right there with Mitch because everyone was saying, "How do you guys shut down by Phil Deneau when you're making this much money?
Yep.
How are you that much of a ghost when you make this much money?" So Matthews caught lots of flack, and Mitch had the puck over the glass penalty. He looked awful against Montreal, and if he wants to if he feels disrespected by the fans because of the way he was treated on his way out too, you did this all to yourself. All of it is you did by yourself because people loved you before the contract negotiation stuff. We already went over the contract stuff. We don't need to do it again. People still loved you after the contract stuff. The year after, listen, like there obviously expectations change, and that happened for everybody. Because if you guys remember when Nylander came back from that huge holdout, people were pinning like bills to their jerseys when he started playing his first games. So you can't say that you were the only one who got contract issues because Willie got just as much. But you know what he did?
Willie
He scored in the
redeemed
playoffs,
himself.
and everyone was like, "All right, who cares? You like one of the best contracts on the team."
Nylander
himself.
for
Yeah.
years.
Yep.
Years that lasted. It was
Yep.
crazy, and it's like it really is like fairly recent. Like you're right, Steph. He redeemed himself. Like it seems like every single time that no one else was scoring, it was always William Nylander putting
Yep.
the puck in the net.
Yep. And I had that debate with somebody too. They were like, "Oh, he doesn't play the playoff style." I'm like, "I don't care, dude. He scores." Like if you like listen, not everyone plays a huge playoff style. Like Sam Reinhart doesn't bang and crash into the corners. Like if you put up points, you put up points, and that's all. And at the end of the day, that's what matters is what you do on the score sheet. And listen, there's obviously context with those, but when it comes to William Nylander, he scores in the biggest games. He scored in Game 7 last year against Boston. He scored. He was huge against early in the series against Florida after he tailed off a bit, but if you remember against Ottawa, Game 6, he scores against Ottawa. He scores in big games, Willie, and like I said, everyone has had this contract pressure, and it wasn't just Mitch, and I feel like sometimes he feels like he's the only one who gets that pressure, and that's not true. It's not true. Like and another thing is that I think he is a worse performer out of the four of them when the playoffs come around. Like I said, Willie
that's not an
scores.
opinion. That is a fact.
No, it's a fact. JT, even if he's not on the score sheet, he plays a style that affects the game. When he's in front of the net, when he's going into the corners.
He broke the curse. Like
Yeah, JT's had big moments in the playoffs. Matthews hasn't been great, but he has had his and we already talked about this on the pod before, but he's had more moments than Mitch.
even this
And
playoffs when he was injured for majority of it, he had
Scored in
some
Game
big
6
goals.
against Florida.
Game 6
Yeah, I
against
mean,
Florida, scored in game
Game 6 against
game 6
Ottawa.
against Ottawa. He had this
The
game
asterisk
opening goal. Like
the asterisk I give to Matthews, and this only really applies to the last couple of years, but I mean, I guess since he has like really blossomed as a player into like a 60 goal guy, there's kind of been something going on every playoff run. Like this year he's injured. Last year he only played like 4 games due to injury.
Which
think
I
there's
mean, like
somebody
you're never
the
going to
year
be
before,
fully
too.
healthy going into the playoffs. It just doesn't happen.
For sure,
So
but
like
I mean,
you have to
it's
find a way to
pretty
produce
unlucky
even for her.
of him. And this year, I mean, like he only
this year,
scored
it
30
seemed
something
like a
goals,
different
too,
kind
so-
of. It seemed
There was
like
a
a
different
different
injury.
kind of issue this year, where like it was. They're never going to reveal that, I think, because they don't want him to get targeted.
Which that
but-
pissed me off too. We didn't do a locker room cleanout pod, but like, dude, tell us what it was now.
No,
Like,
I
you're
don't.
not playing-
I don't.
you're not playing-
I don't mind that because it still could be something in the future that guys target.
All right, then
And
we're
at the-
fucked
and-
anyway.
and
then.
at the end of the day, like that's their that's a player's personal like info. Like at the
I
end of the
get
day,
it, but
like
like,
that's up to
dude,
them
like
if they want to reveal that or
every
not.
every
I'm
single
I'm not
player,
gonna press for like
every no,
injury
don't press,
details.
but like, dude, like it helps you more if you tell everyone what you had. Because we always see in the playoffs, they run off this list and everyone's like, holy shit, this guy had a broken hand, this guy had this guy had that. And it eases the pressure off sometimes. So even for him, like it's better if you say, unless it's a
I
chronic
guess
thing,
it's
and then at that point, you know what, we're screwed anyways. Because if Matthews has a chronic back injury, then we're paying this guy $13 million and he's a 35 goal scorer, then we're kind of fucked. Like I don't know.
Something you're forgetting though is that Matthews is not like Mitch Marner and doesn't. I mean,
that's
doesn't
the thing I was
obviously
gonna
care
say.
about,
like
everything that people say on Twitter, like not like
I
Mitch
know,
Marner who
but you
comes
know what,
back
he
from
still
energy
does
and
though.
it's
Like
oh, you
if
guys
you
are
listen
making up
to
shit.
if he still does he's always like, oh, we don't listen to the noise. Okay, well, if you say we don't listen to the noise and you're listening to the noise, so you know people are talking about you.
Yeah, you're
Like I don't know, like as much as I'm not a Mitch Marner fan. Like you guys know that. Like you guys made fun of me for that. Like I hated on him even when he was playing well. And
you were
although
right.
I did say during the regular season he looked a little bit different. I liked him better, but I'm the idiot who believed that they were different. Anyways,
And we're the idiots who convinced you.
yeah. Anyways, Matthews still does that stuff where it's like, oh, we don't listen to the outside noise. Like, okay, dude, like we know we know you read it. He's like, oh, I don't even look at it. Like, dude, shut up. Like, everyone knows you do it. You're not the only one who does it. Like, so if you're gonna go like, oh, I don't listen to the outside noise, or you get a little bit pissy with the media, which he does from time to time, which is honestly, it's fine. I don't care. Like,
Those are
Draisaitl
funny.
does it. Draisaitl does it. Like every guy does it, and I don't care if you're pissy with them, but like you can't say, "Oh, I don't get why we have all this pressure," and then when you have a chance to explain yourself, or "I don't get why we get this criticism when I was hurt," and then you have the chance to explain yourself. If you don't do it, then yeah, you're gonna get the criticism because then we're like, "All right, dude, like I don't know, what did you actually have?"
Yeah.
Which listen, he went to Germany. I'm not saying that he had like a bruise on his back and that was it. Like I know
Clearly,
he was.
something was.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm just
but I'm
hoping
just saying,
like
like, you
the
can
league's-
help yourself in the media. Like, these guys act like the media is only there to hurt them. Like, you can help yourself
Yeah.
big time with the media.
The
if you really
thing-
want to.
Just be more honest. Like even
That's
like
what I'm saying.
I think even Craig Berube
There-
and Brad Living especially were a lot more honest this year. I
was gonna say-
really appreciated that, and I respect
Everyone
it.
would appreciate that more.
Dude,
Like, we're not
one-
idiots, dude. We watched the games. We know you weren't right. Just tell, like, and again, at the end of the day, you don't have to. But then you also don't get the right to say, "Oh, the pressure, the media is so honest about everything." Like, okay, dude. Like, if you don't
I
want to
guess
help yourself, then
the
don't
one-
complain about it.
I
one
just kind of wish that that we heard the words DNA change sooner and not in a time where they literally have to because they have no control over what happens to Mitch Marner.
And that goes
I
back
hope-
to Shanny.
Well, yeah, because
Exactly,
they decided to move off of Kyle Dubas the second he was about to do it, because Kyle Dubas made a power play to try and
Which
get
I mean is
the
also on
presidency.
Dubas, but it's
It's
also
on
on
Dubas,
Dubas. I
but,
think
like-
he knew, like, honestly, to be honest, everyone's like, "Oh, Dubas was gonna make this move." I'm like, okay, but like he probably knew that. Listen, I'm probably not gonna be here next year, so I'll just let it fly and say whatever.
It
and
always ties back to
Yeah.
Shanny. Like that was Shanny's guy.
Which yeah, Shanny always wanted these four guys, and it went from being I believe in these guys to complete ego play, in my opinion. I feel like he wanted everyone to. I feel like he wanted it to be right so bad, not because he wanted to win, but because he wanted to say, "Look how stupid all of you guys are. I believed in this, and you guys didn't." And at the end of this,
Oh
what happened?
no!
What happened?
Mason Marchment to the
Oh,
Kraken.
Dude, that is such a nothing
For
trade too.
third and a fourth. Oh my god.
You're telling me we couldn't have made that deal, man?
Okay, we'll talk about this in the offseason outlook. Let's just save your thoughts. I mean, I think you all know our thoughts, but yeah.
so happy
Anyways,
this
to
trade
close it off on Mitch, sounds like he's gone. Sounds like Vegas is a big contender for him. Carolina looks like they're gonna be on him.
LA is like
And-
a sleeper.
Yeah, like I think he's ending up in Vegas. To be quite honest with you, I think they'll make a move and they'll clear up some cap space and they'll go and sign him.
We'll see, I guess, just what happens there.
Yeah,
There'll be
and
some
also-
interesting stuff.
Darren Dreger, who is also like, I mean, he's friends with Darren Ferris, so every report
I
you get on
don't
Mitch
trust
Marner
a single
comes
Mitch Marner
straight
thing
from
that
the agent.
comes out of Darren Dreger's
But
mouth.
but he did say that it could end up being Mitch signing later in July, and they're gonna do all these meetings and stuff, which is like whatever, dude. It's you've earned the right to do this.
I love
free agent,
you know
like-
what though, I love when they say that. It's like these guys have never been to the cities before in their life.
No, listen, dude. At the end
Like
of
I
the day,
get that when they're there, they're not there for very long, or they don't get to travel very much. But like these guys, they go out for dinner or whatever in these cities. Like they've been
I don't
around these
even
cities
care if he
before. He's
waits,
been in the
man. Like,
league for 8 years or
I don't care,
9
dude. Like, I
years.
don't know.
Like,
You've earned the right at this point to do what you want, but
I
like,
guess. I don't
I'm
know.
just so sick of this stuff that he was disrespected. Like, dude, shut the fuck up. You weren't disrespected. Like,
I
listen,
know.
like at times the criticism was tough, but you put that on yourself with
Yeah, you
how
did
you
it to
acted with the
yourself.
media, how you acted in your contract negotiations, how you played. If you really cared this much about being a Leaf, your play would have changed.
Yeah,
I
like
don't know.
I
Like,
do
I
want
don't
to
know.
I do want to say one thing briefly. You mentioned earlier on being more like transparent with the media, and then Jacob, you mentioned the Craig Berube and
Yeah.
the Brad Treliving press conference. The Brad Treliving one was insane. I don't think I've ever seen a GM go that like in depth on their season as a whole. That was like a 50-minute press conference. It was crazy.
Yeah.
But I know you guys didn't watch it because I think you both were working that day.
No, actually,
Yeah.
I
That
watched
Keith Pelly press conference, I thought personally was very refreshing to see someone that high up in the organization be really like not enthusiastic but very clear about change being needed, and not just the players or staff. He was very clear on like a mentality, fan
I don't know,
outreach
dude.
to a point, and media transparency as well. In the media, I think transparency was a big thing because we were just talking about it. You could do yourself a lot of favors with this market if you were just better with the media and not as
100%.
robotic as they are. And I think Keith Pelly understands that. This is a guy who is the CEO of TSN for years
Yeah.
upon years upon years. This is a guy who understands this is a guy who understands the importance of media and understands the importance of media, especially in Toronto. He worked it for a very long time. So I think we saw that with the Brad Treliving press conference. I think he was given a green light to really just spew and
It's
spit.
easy to do that when you haven't been here for a lot of it too, though. I don't know.
But
like,
he wasn't in the organization, but he's been in Toronto. He was the CEO of
no,
TSN.
I'm not
Or
talking
do
about
you
Keith.
mean
I'm
Tree
talking
Living?
about Brad.
Oh,
Like Brad,
sorry,
like
sorry,
Tree
sorry.
Living. Tree Living, I think, got a free pass for a lot of people last year because the team didn't look good enough. He
Well, yeah,
kinda
and
just, like,
his
added
second
around the edges, and then. But this year, I thought he was good. Like, I don't know. I can't really complain.
he's had 3 off seasons, and after the first one, he was like willing to make change like that. Like it's, I think. I think he understands the situation.
Also, going back to Mitch, and this ties back to Tree Living, the fact that the report was that he was blindsided by a trade request when you refused to negotiate during the season. Give me a break,
God,
dude.
blindsided. You knew,
Yeah.
like, what are you
You
talking
knew it was
about?
coming.
Dude.
Also, like, listen, I'll say before I say anything else, I'll say I do not blame him for not waving. Like, his wife was pregnant.
no,
you know
no.
what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
yeah,
that's all.
that makes so much sense.
This
Yeah.
all comes back to 2023. They like it's
was the
entirely the Leafs'
opportunity.
fault that this came down to this is because they knew that Marner's no move flat, and I blame Brendan Shanahan. more than
Realistically, it should have been 2021 that they
Yeah.
that they
2021.
blew
I mean,
it up.
But
anything.
I,
Bruins
listen,
moved off of Joe Thornton before he even.
I kind of I don't want to get too far because
You know?
listen, we could go down a huge rabbit hole of the amount of times they
Yeah,
should
for
have
sure.
broke up the core. But I just
look,
want to get back to this main point that you felt disrespected because if it was because of the trade request, stop acting like an idiot, dude. You knew that was coming.
It's a business.
If you
Like
refuse-
the team has to do their due diligence
if
in that
you
situation.
if you refuse to negotiate with this team, if you refuse to negotiate with the team in your final year of your contract and you're a player of this status, you would be completely stupid or either stupid or arrogant to think that they would never even ask
Like,
for
are
a
you
trade.
kidding? Like, I understand his situation, but feeling blindsided, like, really, you felt blind. You really thought in your mind, that the Leafs
what did you
weren't
think
gonna
was gonna
float
happen?
your name around at all. After at the beginning of the season, you said, "Yeah, I'm not negotiating shit. Fuck you guys."
Yeah, we'll wait for July 1st.
Okay.
No, dude, like you're going to trade the assets for you. That's how it works. Like,
Especially if Mikko fucking Rantanen is on the table. Are you joking me? Of course they're gonna ask you. Like, what are you talking about, man?
I don't know. That pissed me off too because I'm like, you have played in this league for
9
years now.
9 years.
Like as a fan, I knew it was coming. Like, dude, don't act like an idiot. You knew it was coming. Everyone in the
been
world
in the
knew it was
league
coming,
for
dude.
9 years. You've been in hockey for 90% of your life. There's no way in your
If
right
anyone,
mind you could
if
think
anyone was surprised
that
if
that's a
they tried to
blindside.
trade, if anyone was surprised if they tried to trade Mitch this season, then you just don't follow the league enough because
You
like
don't follow
everyone
like
should have,
sports. You don't
Yeah.
follow sports. This
Yeah.
is a sports
And
thing
people-
that happens.
and people who thought
Contract,
that
like it's
they
all
would-
business.
It's also been reported since like the middle of the season that I think since the beginning of this season
Yeah.
that he was going to July 1st.
Yeah.
Like this is not surprising, and the way the season ended and the way that the fan followed has been like the media, the Twitter, fucking whatever the fuck. I am not surprised one bit that Mitch Marner does not want to be here anymore, and I do not care. I know at the end,
Yeah,
I
which
think
is fine,
I
dude,
think
like,
during
I don't know.
last podcast we were doing the whole Mitch Marner thing, and I was saying, oh, he was my favorite player when I first started watching hockey in 16, 17. He's been here for so long. He's like, I mean, whether I care to admit it or not, the Leafs are a big part of my life. He's kind of been a constant there. A month has passed since then. I do not give a fuck. I am so over it. I want Mitch Marner off my hockey team. I want him out of my city more than anything else. Just, I'm so done with this. The more this drags on, the more I start to dislike Mitch Marner. I didn't even hate him that much when the season ended. I'm like, whatever. Like this should have ended 3 years ago. So I don't
You're
give a
different
fuck.
from me.
Yeah, I know. And then,
Yeah.
then like, oh
Listen,
my god.
honestly,
now I'm just,
honestly,
like,
at the end of the day, I don't blame him for not wanting to be here either. Because
No, it's-
as much as I say it's warranted what happened to him with all like getting booed off the ice, people booing him when he touched the puck, all warranted because like I said, 80% of this is on you, 20% of this is on the organization. Because at the end of the day, what happened in his first 3 years in the league, yeah, it was fucked up. Like I don't know, but they
guys have
fired
been
those
gone.
guys.
They've been
Like,
gone
move
for
on.
years.
Like, grow up.
They have been
Grow
gone
up.
for years. Shanahan
Yeah.
was the only one that was here.
And
He's
he
been
and he
under
coddled you,
contract.
dude.
Yeah,
he
like,
coddled you.
He's the one who defended you the whole way
Yeah.
through, pretty much. Like,
okay, yeah. Here's the thing. You're right. Shanahan defended him, coddled him, and he has not had an opportunity to have another contract negotiation since then. What has happened under
Dude, I don't
Brendan
care. I don't even
Shanahan,
care.
Craig
I don't
Berube,
even care, man, about
not
the
Brendan
contract
Shanahan,
stuff.
Brad
Honestly,
Treliving, okay, you're missing my point though. Is that nothing has happened that like unless there's something we don't know about that the organization could.
didn't get the
disrespect
captaincy.
Marner.
he didn't get.
Why would
no,
he get the captaincy?
No,
I can name
dude.
10 players that would get the
No,
captaincy.
you
It's a
want to know
joke,
what it
it's a
is?
joke,
Do you
it's a
do you want to know what it is? He feels disrespected because he feels he takes a lot more of the blame than everyone else, which is fine. But you're also
that's not
a
the
big part of
organization's
it.
fault.
No, it's not the
Take a
organization's
cap
fault.
discount and score more goals then. Like, not even more goals, get more points. Like, I don't do something in the. Sorry, I'm getting all riled up here. But
I
Jesus
just want to.
fucking
Like,
Christ,
listen,
it
we've
was
spent half an
stupid.
hour on Mitch Marner, so I kind of want to end it now.
Look,
I think.
here, let me
could
just
spend
say
12
let me just
days.
say this one thing.
Well.
He has been on the first line for 5
Top
years
power
now.
play.
Top power play.
Penalty
and
kill.
and he gets the benefit of the doubt without fail. How
With
many
the
times
organization.
have the Leafs moved off of Matthews Marner in the past 5 years?
Yeah.
Like 3 times maybe. And I'm not talking about when Matthews is injured. I'm like Bertuzzi, Matthews, Domi. I think is the only notable time that they were separated for a significant period of time in the past 5 seasons. Like, what are we doing? He gets that benefit of the doubt, and it's really frustrating, and I don't understand how that equates to disrespect. Like, maybe Kyle Dubas disrespected you, maybe Mike Babcock, maybe even Sheldon Keefe disrespected you. These people aren't around
Dude,
anymore.
Kyle Dubas didn't even disrespect you. He gave you the contract you wanted.
Yeah,
He
like,
caved.
Kyle Dubas gave you everything you could have possibly wanted. He gave you the A. He gave you the contract, like pretty much exactly what you wanted. He gave you the playing
Probably the
time
issue.
with
Maybe he just feels
Matthews.
Maybe he's a little spoiled.
Honestly, yeah, like that's what it is. I feel like whatever. This is not just Mitch. This is every athlete. But like at a young age, when these guys were so good so early, everyone tells you you're the best thing ever.
Especially
so like when
with
you get,
Paul Marner, who's as involved.
well, I
as
mean,
he
I don't know.
is.
There was a funny narrative that Paul Marner was an abusive dad because he yelled at Mitch when he was playing hockey. I'm like, dude, have you ever seen a hockey dad ever? Like, I don't know. Like,
Get fucking skating, Mitch.
yeah.
Oh, I swear to God.
Yeah. Anyways, we're gonna move on now because we're beating a dead horse at this point. I'm gonna move on to knies now. Actually, you know what? No, I want to go on to JT because he's still part of the core four, so I think that makes more sense. Reports are, let's say, This pissed me off. Pierre LeBrun says, "Oh, it'll be like a Yanni Dor contract, but the AAV is going to be well over 5 million." That's not a Yanni Dor contract.
not
That is a
Yanni
long
Dor.
contract with
That's
like. That's not the same thing at
dude.
all, man. That
Like
is
that
not.
contract.
That is not a
After seeing what Matt Duchene just signed for today,
Which
like,
is 4 times 4.5 mil in Dallas.
4.5 over 4 years.
Yeah.
Seeing all this stuff about John Tavares, it's just like,
It hurts, man. I'm not gonna lie.
do you do you desperately need the $8 million on the open market? Like, do you actually genuinely desperately need that? You just made $77 million. You just won your case against the CRA for that extra $8 million. Do you like? If he literally took like 4x5 or whatever, like if he took 4 years, 5 million per, I'd be happy with that. I'd be fine with it.
I'd do that.
If he took 4.5, build his statue right now. I don't even care if they win a cup. Like, dude, do you need that extra 2 to 3 million every year?
I also want to know
I
where they're
don't
getting these
understand.
evaluations from, dude. Like, listen, I love JT. He was great last year. That
38
contract.
goals, like,
Listen, he never really lived up to the dollar amount that he got when he got here, aside from maybe the first season where he scored close to 50 with Marner on his line. But I've always thought he's been a fantastic Leaf. Like, I've never really complained about JT that much. But if you want to stay, and this is a lot about changing the mix for me, like at a certain point, it's like I want JT because I don't think there's a better third line center out there, but I also don't want to pay my third line center $5.5 million because I don't
yeah, like
I don't see the value there.
I mean,
I guess that he would be a high end third line center.
Yeah, but you're
Yeah.
aging with that contract too. Like he might be high end next year, but like listen, JT has been great his whole career and has been pretty consistent his whole career. But age affects everyone eventually. Like the only anomaly really was Joe Pavelski, who was great his whole career, and
that's like best case scenario.
and he's a winger too. Like he's not a center.
That's
He
like
was
best
different.
case scenario that you can hope for with John. But like for me, I've seen a lot of people say that like they shouldn't sign Tavares because he's a part of the core four, and for me, it's like if you sign John Tavares at like 5 million, that's not a core guy. That's a $5 million player. That's not like a top end guy on your team.
I've seen that, but I also disagree because I think Jeff O'Neill said it on Overdrive, and I do agree with him. He's like, yeah, like he might be making a smaller cap hit, but he's also still John Tavares. Like he still has a
He's
voice in
still
that
John
room.
Tavares, but he's not John Tavares at $11 million. Like
No,
you're getting other like he's pushed down
yeah,
the lineup.
yeah.
He might still be,
And you have more
he might
money
still
available,
He might
too.
still be a leader, but at the end of the day,
Yeah.
it's the play on the ice needs
Yeah.
to change. And I think John Tavares at $5 million means like you can get other guys and maybe change up your style on the ice a little more, or you get a couple more guys
Yeah.
that can score. Like at the end of the day, that's not in terms of the money, like that's not a core guy.
No, but if he starts saying anywhere close to 6, then he can
No,
walk.
if it's,
dude. Like
dude,
I don't.
if it's
I
like
don't.
6 mil,
I'm
like
with you there.
I think if I'm John Tavares, I would like. I mean, it's easy for me to say discerning between like $2 million a year, but like, I don't know, man. You're 34.
It's not even about
You've built
JT,
such a
it's like-
good like image in this city.
Yeah.
Like so many fans love you.
He
Like,
takes the
older
least
fans-
amount of criticism of the
Dude,
four of
the
them.
older
Like,
fans
no one
love
touches
you. The
JT.
younger
Yeah.
fans love you. Like like everybody loves him because he chose the
be
Leafs.
here,
A
yeah.
lot of people don't choose the Leafs. He chose the Leafs. Like people love this
And
guy.
he-
He's one of the
he-
hardest working players.
He has an
broke the
opportunity now
curse.
to continue to do that.
That's
and
what
I-
I'm
and-
saying. Like you
and I
have
mean,
an
and
opportunity
the funny
to.
thing is that it's looking that he wants to do that, and I think if
Yeah,
you want to be a Leaf here, if you want to retire as a Leaf, then it kind of has to.
Well, that's also on
Dude,
Brad
both sides
Treliving
have
too,
to
dude. If
give and take.
like if
too,
I'm
you
Tree
know,
Living, I go into these contract negotiations like, oh, you want to be a Leaf? Okay, well here's $4 million. Do you want that? No, I don't want that. All right, then you don't want to be a Leaf because like at the end of the day, do you
Yeah,
want to be a Leaf or do
exactly.
you not want to be a Leaf?
Yeah,
like I don't know.
Because you have, as if you're John Tavares, you have an opportunity to like cement. Like if he signs a sweetheart deal, he cements himself as a like probably top 5 Leaf all time. I think, in my opinion.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Maybe not top 5, but like he's up there. If he signs a sweetheart deal and they like win a cup or
10.
something in that deal, I think he'd probably be a top 5. Like he's up there.
Listen, like also I want to say I know
Or
4 million
in the
is probably
conversation.
4 million is probably a little low, but Although I don't even know if it is because Duchesne just got 4.5 and we just talked
Duchesne just
about
got
that.
4.5, and Duchesne had a better season than John Tavares. He had a worse playoffs, but like his team made it further.
And look, I
Uh,
mean,
I don't know, man.
There's a point to be made about the tax thing, but I think there's like ways around that with salary deferral, and you can get
Signing
John Tavares at
bonus,
4.5,
man. The Leafs do it all the
5.4.
time.
Yeah,
Load up the
you
fucking
just saw him.
signing
You
bonus.
just saw him go through a huge, like, legal thing with the CRA over that.
Who
signing
else does
bonus.
it? Who else goes through that though? That's the first time I've ever fucking
I think
seen
I
it's
know,
that
also
but
because,
happen.
dude,
like, he was,
I'm gonna
he
be
was
honest.
living in New York during the 2018 calendar year. I think that's what that had to do with. So I don't know if. That
But
would be
dude, like
applicable here.
honestly, like if it was you though, like I don't know. I'm thinking if it was me, like yeah, I don't even want to risk that again. Like obviously you
you're
take the
right.
signing bonus, but like I don't want to go through that again. I don't care how rich I am. Dealing with the CRA is a bitch, dude.
Well,
any
I don't
tax
know.
savings
You
is
just
a bitch.
you're regardless of what contract you sign, you're going to be over 100 million in career earnings by the end of it. Do you desperately need to make $7
Yeah.
million dollars a year?
Which
Like,
is also on
like,
tree living, dude. Like force this guy to get down to your number if he really wants to be a Leaf that bad. I don't like. I'm so sick of hearing guys say I love being here, and you know what? It doesn't even happen that often because a lot of guys don't come out. And when JT comes out and says I love being here, then prove you love being here.
like an
Sign
Yeah,
us.
Tyler
sign
Bertuzzi
us-
had-
was
he
one of those
had-
guys.
I know,
he
man.
had
If we
an-
didn't even get him back. I would love.
he
Bertuzzi.
had an emphatic yes, like no hesitation when asked if he wanted to
Yeah.
come back. Like it was instant. Yes, I want to be here.
Are you talking
But-
about Tavares?
Tavares,
JT,
yeah,
yeah.
Tavares. But it's like, if you do, reflect that with your actions, man.
Yeah.
Like if he takes, even if he signs for like 5 mil, like or for like 4 or 5 years, I can't even put into words how
Dude,
loved
like,
that guy
it's-
would be. Like it's not it's not difficult. You're still getting like 25 million extra dollars in your career earnings. Like I don't know what else could you want, man? Or do you really want to go to, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a random team
Buffalo.
that needs a center. Like, do you want to go to Buffalo for $8 million? Like, you want to go to Buffalo? Like, you're telling me you would rather go, and I think it's obvious the answer to this question is no for any team, but like, would you really rather go to like Utah or something and make like 8 mil? Like, I mean,
I think
like,
the other
obviously
team that,
you want to
pretty
stay
much sort of
here.
Anaheim. Anaheim would be an
Oh,
honor.
yeah, you want to go to Anaheim, where literally nobody, like, not a soul cares about the sport. You will fade into irrelevance for the rest of your career if you go to Anaheim.
You think he could follow Marner?
No, I don't think so.
That'd be crazy.
You're a sick fuck. That's what you are.
Yeah, I don't know.
Sorry.
Listen, there's not much more to be said. I just think if that contract ends up anywhere close to 5.5, 6 million, or $5.5, $6 million, then I kind of rethink, or I
Even
start to
5.5, I'd be like okay with, but like once you're over 6 for me, it's like no, you can't.
If you're
like,
around
you
6,
can't.
I don't know if I want it that bad. Because
You
honestly,
can't.
I don't want to pay my. I did cast one up, but I still don't want to pay my third line center $6 million.
No,
How
like
about over
it's
2 years, $6 million?
Oh, if it's over 2 years, then
Over
I'd
2
be
years,
okay
then-
with it. But that doesn't seem to be the case, apparently.
Yeah.
See,
If it's over
I
two, if
still-
it's over
I'm
2
still
years,
unsure about
apparently
that.
he wants like 8 million, and we're just getting into this pigeonhole
Same
where it's
thing.
like it just I don't know what you want. Like, do you want to be
Yeah.
a Leaf, or do you want the money? Like, I don't get it.
The other contract negotiation that's going on with the Leafs right now, it's another big one. It's another guy who says he wants to be here, is Matthew Knies. This one has been really, really weird to me, I think. I just think you have people on one side of it who I mean, listen, everyone loves Knies in Toronto. I don't think there's a single fan here who doesn't like him. He says all the right things. He plays the right way.
Love Knies.
Yeah, like I think there's people like, but the thing that I have trouble with is the reporting has been really weird around it. It's either been like, yeah, it's been like, oh, like they're gonna get something done, and then it's been like, but no one really knows what the contract's gonna be. So it's like, okay, are they gonna get something done, or does no one really know what's going on? So we'll see what happens there. I think the number's been 8 million if he sends a long-term or a short-term deal.
It's been spotty.
Or the
I haven't
long-term?
seen anything much about a
Yeah.
long-term deal from anybody
That's
like
a lot of bridge
reputable. A lot of people are talking about like a 5-year deal, like 4 or 5
5 years,
years
yeah.
at like 8 million, or they just go straight bridge at like 3 years at like around 6.
Which I
Pisses
don't
me
want.
off,
I
man.
don't
Get
really
this
want to
done.
bridge
Lock
either,
'em
because
up
then
for
you're
8 years.
really risking. I think the Leafs really should start doing
Taking
what a
gambles,
lot,
dude.
taking the gambles on
yeah.
your young players, doing what a lot of these other teams
Look at
do,
what Ottawa
and
did.
Ottawa, Montreal, they
Yeah,
capitalized
which
on their young guy. Like they capitalized
At
on
the same
Suzuki. They
time,
capitalized on Caulfield.
I feel like
New
you
Jersey,
gotta
New
look at
Jersey,
Krakowski kind of hurt them.
New Jersey has Jack
It's not
Hughes
that
at
bad.
$8.5 million.
Okay. But we have to look at the context of the time now here and realize that, yes, it would have been great if Leafs did that in 2019, but also we're in a time when the cap is exploding, and from the player's perspective, if I was a player right now, I'm not signing an 8-year deal. I would take
Which is
like,
fine.
for $8
Which is
million.
fine. If he really doesn't want the 8, then you give him as much term as possible, though. Like I really don't
Yeah.
want him on a 3-year deal.
If you
a 3 or
if
4
you
year
Get him
if
deal.
done
you
at, get him done
if
at
he
five,
doesn't
5 or 6.
yeah, if he doesn't want to sign for more than 5 or 6 years, albeit, but just give him the money now. Like this isn't a situation where we're gonna be starving for money. John Tavares is $11 million is off the books. Mitch Marner's $11 million is off the books. I'm assuming at this point David Camp is not returning.
Which is
Callie
what, 2 million?
Yarncroke is a big. I think Camp is 2.4. Callie Yarncroke is 2.1, and I'm assuming Callie Yarncroke probably isn't coming back. He's a question mark.
5.5 there then. Or
That's
4.5.
another 5.5. Like this isn't a contract you should be like nickel and diming over. You don't need to do this anymore.
Yeah, but at the
just
same
give
time,
him what he.
At the
like,
same time, I don't want them to fold because I think we've seen them
no,
fold with all these big
don't
players,
give,
like,
don't give Matthew Knies like $9-10 million. But if he wants like $7.5-8 million over 6 years, just do it, man. This guy in his
I
second
already have a lot
year
more
scored
faith in-
30 goals. He's one of the best players in the playoffs.
I have a
he
lot
has
of
that
faith
physical.
in Trey Living's negotiation ability here. So
Yeah,
I'm not
I
too.
agree.
yeah. The problem is like you set this culture with Matthews and Marner and JT where you get everything you want, and then that guy comes into the lead with those guys there. Like if I'm him, I'm like, well, like they never took anything. Like why the fuck am I gonna take something? Which is like, listen, yeah. It does make me sick too, and I obviously I want him to sign the sweetheart deal. Like it is what it is, but
You just need one guy to change that. Like,
right, but it's hard when everyone else in your core, especially when like Matthews is the top player in the league, didn't do it. It's like okay, like I don't know.
I mean, yeah, it's unrealistic to expect a 22-year-old to take a discount here. Like, guy hasn't been paid yet in his career, and I don't know. Like, it would be great if he signed, like, I don't know, an 8x7, 8 years, 7 mil. But at the same time, like, he's a young guy. He's gonna look to maximize his profits.
Oh no, I don't expect him to sign some like crazy discount for 8 years. Like at the end of the day, like it is a business too, and you should get like at least somewhere close to the money you deserve. But there just has to be a give and take there. And I honestly, it's hard to comment on the contract negotiation when we have like no idea what's really happening with it because no one really knows. So we'll see how what happens there. I think a lot of people think that they'll get something done by the draft.
we'll see. I guess.
That's what a lot of people have been saying, that they don't think they'll be waiting past the July 1st. And
I hope so.
yeah, me too.
It helps a lot with your free agency plans if you can get that done as soon as possible. Him and John.
Even if you don't get it done, if you have like a pretty good idea of where the numbers are gonna land, like just get deep within the negotiations to the point where you have an idea of like maybe a $2 million like range where like okay, the deal is gonna land in here. So then when you go into your free agent class, you know what you're working with.
It helps you out a lot.
But that's a lot more of a a front office thing than anything. I do kind of want to talk about the off season now because dude, I got a jump scare. I went on Cap Friendly. My bad. It's been like what 2 years now, and I still call it Cap Friendly. Puckpedia. I went on Puckpedia and I went to the Leafs depth chart, and obviously all the guys who are UFAs aren't there, obviously. So this is the lineup I got when I looked at it: Knies, Matthews, Nylander, Holmberg, Domi, Yarncroke, McMahon, Lawton, Robertson, Jacob Quillen, Camp, and Reeves.
Jacob Quillen is a pull.
Yeah.
Give
So
me Quillen over Reeves.
So that's what I'm looking at right now. But the
This website sucks. Sorry.
the off season is, I don't know, dude. Like I'm so confused about how they're gonna go about this because all the free agent class looks like shit. To be quite honest, I think it looks like Bennett's gonna resign in Florida. I think Sarah Valley was saying he's gonna get like 8 years at $7.5 million. Of course he is.
God.
Yeah.
Oh my.
So he said that on Sportsnet last night, I think.
As
I was
much
at the
as-
bar. Dude, I was at the bar when I saw that headline. I almost spit my beer out. I'm like, what are you talking about? 8 years at $7.5 million.
Dude, as much as I hate the Florida Panthers and as much as I hate Sam Bennett, thank God that guy's staying there, because if that guy hit the open market, I was so scared
No, I
of
wanted
the
him to hit
Leafs.
the open market because listen, that guy, that guy is
I'm
a demon
just
in the playoffs, and it would hurt Florida big time if he left. I just didn't want the Leafs to give him the $9 million that
That's what I
apparently
was
people were
terrified
offering him.
of. That's what I
Yeah,
was terrified of.
because I had this argument with my dad, I think, or not an argument. This was just a debate, obviously, or a conversation. But it was
No, you argued with your dad, and this was like
probably.
a full-on yelling, screaming
Yeah, actually,
match.
yeah, that's what it was. No,
You
but
guys were throwing chairs.
he's like, regular season doesn't matter. I want to start for the playoffs and what he does. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah, we
like
need to make the
I do agree.
playoffs.
Yeah, I do agree, and I think what he brings in the playoffs is special, and that obviously ups his value. And I think this has been well documented, so I'm not some sort of like special hockey mind by saying this, but I think he's like one of the most interesting free agents we've seen ever because it's such a stark difference between what he does in the regular season and what he does in the playoffs. And my whole argument was if you're going to pay this guy $9 million, or I guess the number was 10, which I never believed. I thought that was just agents being agents. But if you're going to pay him $9 million, you're going to get, what, 40 points out of him in the regular season. And then what happens in the playoffs if he goes in injured, if he has a bad week, if he's snake
Be
bitten,
good.
if he's sick?
We're
Like-
forgetting that this guy, like, he's in a contract year.
No,
He's
but
been
listen,
good in the
listen.
playoffs before, but he's never been like Conn Smythe
No,
level good.
No, it won't. Listen, it won't be. It won't be this every year. This is the extreme.
Like
But
I think this is what
but even
people
when
are
he was at
misunderstanding
Calgary-
with this. People think that they're gonna get 15 goal in the
No.
playoffs Sam Bennett
I
every
can't
year. Like you're
believe-
not
No, but-
getting that. And even in regular, Sam Bennett is still not worth $9 million in the playoffs. I'm sorry, it's not. And the issue with me with Sam Bennett, oh, I'm gonna go off here. I can't stand this dude.
Hold on, can I just say something before you go off, and then I'll let you go.
Yeah.
He has always been a good playoff performer. Even in Calgary, they told him playoff Sam Bennett. Like he always elevates, and he plays a style of game that you need. And as dirty as he is, it helps you. Like if he's taking starting goalies out of playoff series, and you know what?
When has
If
that happened?
the lead isn't going to do anything about it, then you know what? If you see Vazzy going down in the butterfly, maybe stick an elbow out. I don't know. If no one's gonna do anything about it, and this is how you're gonna win, then do it. I don't care.
This is how Scott Lawton needs to make himself useful.
Honestly, yeah. I mean, we'll talk about Lawton and the center options here soon. But
Yeah,
before
Seb.
Seb goes off, I do think that the playoff his value has significantly rose. I think I would have been fine giving Bennett like $8 million like for what he does bring in the playoffs. No, I would have, dude, and it's because we don't have guys like Bennett. We really don't. I think Knies is the only that we have like Bennett. So Seb, go ahead. But I'm telling you, listen, I know it's never gonna be 15 goals again, but he is so worth it in the playoffs. 'Cause everywhere he has been worth it. And another thing I'll say about it, I don't know if he is this good if he leaves Florida because he's been insulated by guys like Barkov, by guys like Lundell, guys.
You're making my point
like
for me.
Reinhardt. So I don't know what. Like honestly, I wanted him to hit the open market because I want to see what that looked like somewhere else. Because I am interested because he was good in Calgary in the playoffs when he had the chances.
You just made my point for me. My biggest issue with Sam Bennett is that I genuinely believe that Florida is the perfect situation for this guy. He is sandwiched between Barkov and Mini Barkov. We're talking about two of like some of the best defensive players in the game. The Bennett line got the sweetheart matchups in the playoffs. Like, let's not get it twisted. They weren't getting the defensive starts. Let's also not get it twisted. Sam Bennett is not a good center. He's awful in the face-off dot. He's not really good defensively either. He's an okay option on the power play. And the other issue I have with Sam Bennett is that Florida was able to build this situation that they have, which includes Sam Bennett, because Sam Bennett only makes $4 million on that team. If you're giving you can justify Sam Bennett, not getting, the defensive matchups or something, or not getting really strong matchups in general, because he was only making $4 million. You go and give Sam Bennett $8-9 million. That's your second line center. Some team's first line center you're paying that guy to be. You expect him to get some more difficult matchups. If he's getting paid $8-9 million, that guy's going to be going up against some of the best defensive talent in the NHL. And if he's not, and you're sheltering him, that's a waste of money. I'm sorry, it is. And again, this is my thing with just he is in this perfect situation in Florida that I don't think can be replicated anywhere else in the NHL for the money that he's going to command this offseason if he hits the open market. And I get it. Good in the playoffs pretty consistently. This year's a bit of an outlier in terms of like performance. But at the end of the day, I just don't think it's a smart decision to do that. I think people are misunderstanding what it takes to get these kinds of guys. Like the Leafs should be capitalizing more on situations like the Florida Panthers traded for Sam Bennett when he was in Calgary. That was he was in a really shitty situation. He wanted to leave. They got that guy for nothing. He does great for them in his first little stint there in the bubble season.
Remember
and they
how
signed him
often
to like
Sam Bennett was rumored to go to the Leafs that season?
Yeah.
Before he got traded to Florida.
Yeah, imagine he goes to the Leafs and he's doing this stuff for the Leafs, and it would have I mean, I don't even know if it would have worked because we had so many guys making whatever. Like he probably leaves the year after because we couldn't afford him. But my point is just that he's in this perfect. Yeah. No, but my point being that he's in this perfect situation in Florida that I don't think can be replicated for the money he was going to command somewhere else, and I don't think he's the level of player in the regular season to make up for that that discrepancy in terms of the situation. I don't think
a non-playoff team, and it would have been instantly like one of the worst contracts in the league.
Yeah.
No, like we're talking here about how Sam Bennett was gonna hit the open market. He could have made $9 million. That's a $2 million difference between him and Mitch Marner.
Yeah.
And I get he's good in the playoffs, but let's just think about how important Mitch is in the regular season. You got to make the playoffs too, man. Like you have to find the balance, right? Like I get it as long as you make it in. It doesn't matter where you place, and I can already see Mateo smiling, but it's a valid point. It is.
No,
Like,
listen, I get what you're saying.
Do you genuinely think the Leafs next season, after they lose Marner, make the playoffs if Sam Bennett is making $9 million and gets 40 points? Like take into perspective.
I still do because I think we won the Atlantic Division and we didn't have Matthews for a full season. I honestly do think that they made the play.
You're losing a 100-point Selke level player in the regular season for Sam Bennett, who you're going to pay $9 million, and you can't you're not able to build much around.
We had half the season of Austin Matthews, who was also banged up for majority of it. Like
you're still not going to be able to build much around a $9 million.
We won the Atlantic Division. It wasn't like we were a second wildcard team. I still think we made the playoffs. We're probably not as good. I didn't really want him at $8 million either. I said that was the max I would give him. If I were to take him on my team, I'd still want him at like 7.
I genuinely don't think he's worth more than maybe 7, and I still don't think any team maybe besides Florida is going to be able to replicate the kind of success he had in Florida if they give him that kind of money, because it doesn't work. The only reason it works right now in Florida is because he makes $4 million and they're able to isolate him. Yeah, right now, this playoffs, they had Lundell and Bennett for the same amount of money that Bennett could have possibly made. Lundell makes $5 million against the cap right now. He makes like 4.4. A team would have signed Bennett for the same amount of money as those two make right now combined. I'm sorry, it's just I don't believe that it would work anywhere else besides Florida, and I really hope the Leafs, if Bennett hits the open market, which it doesn't seem like it, but I really hope if he does, the Leafs don't go in on that and they focus somewhere else, because they don't need to be signing guys for $9 million. You're walking into the same exact problem you've been in for the past 4 years if you do that.
I get that, but I also don't think the issue has been, and you're still going to disagree, which is fine. I understand why you disagree. I don't think the issue has been paying this amount of guys this amount of money. I think it's the guys that they gave it to. You gave 4 guys double-digit cap hits. Two are centers and 2 are wingers. Like, they didn't have a defenseman, and your winger, one of your wingers that you gave the most money to, doesn't play in the playoffs.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, the reason teams succeed is because they're able to support those top guys. Yeah. These guys are human. Like, no matter how much you pay them, they're not going to show up every night. That's just what it is. Look at McDavid in the Oilers final this year. Games 6 and 7, or games 5 and 6, he didn't show up. He wasn't there. He was non-existent. Like, these guys aren't going to show up every night, and it's superhuman. Like, they're not superhumans at the end of the day. the issue with signing all these guys to that money was that they couldn't support them with any extra depth scoring or any extra talent. Like this year, it was maybe Knies, and then the drop off was to McMahon.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you can't win a series. You can't win a cup like that. You need guys who are going to fill in on the nights when the Stars just don't have it, because they're not every night. They're not going to have it. That they're human. It's never going to be like that, and it's unrealistic to think that they're going to show up every night. But the issue with the Leafs is that they didn't have the money to go get anybody else, because those guys made all the money.
Okay, so moving on from Bennett, because I think we can't keep going on. Like this whole section that I have here is for the offseason outlook and center options, and I didn't expect to spend this much time on Sam Bennett.
True.
Anyways, Duchesne also off the market. We already said that $4.5 million, 4 years.
I don't know.
Another trade that we saw happen was Eric Holla going to Nashville, and I don't really care.
I don't think he was an
whatever, it
option,
doesn't matter. But it's just another center that's off the market. So the thing what I'm kind of getting to here is that the Leafs have a glaring hole at 2C right now, and I'm kind of just assuming that JT is going to come back and he'll play 3C. So they do have a glaring hole at 2C, and I don't think there's really an option there on the It's not that I don't think. I know there's not an option there for 2C on the open market.
I mean, yeah, on free agent there definitely is.
Yeah.
The only two.
Really the only one.
Yeah,
And I don't want to play
Granlund-
2C. I'm sorry, I don't.
No.
The only guys I can really think of the Leafs possibly getting would be either William Karlsson, who I would be a big fan of.
That'd be huge.
I would
Right.
enjoy
I
William
wanna
Karlsson here, and then
hold the
Savannah
trade
Chad.
talk, because I want to stick to the free agent market for now, and then I'll get into the trade stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, I was just talking about the free agent. Sorry, I'm just trying to pull up the free agent list right
God,
now.
I wish people would learn what positions people play in hockey. When was Brad Marchand a center? Brad Marchand has never been a center.
Yeah, I know.
Why is he listed as a center? Same with Claude Giroux. Claude Giroux hasn't played center in like 5 years.
Yeah,
Clark hasn't played center
Jeff
since like
Skinner.
2018.
Was Jeff Skinner even drafted as a center? Okay, wait.
Jeff Skinner's listed as a
What are
center.
you doing here? Andrew
Are you
Mangiapane, Gus
joking?
Nyquist. These guys are not.
Yo, why
centermen.
can't I filter by position on this app?
Anthony Beauvillier is not a center. Like, this isn't difficult to figure out. I'm
What?
sorry. This is just like this is a
Played
pet peeve of
center
mine.
played center once
is
in
a-
junior, and they're like listed as a center.
This is an unexpected rant. Like, how many guys do you see listed as centers? Like, and I'm not just talking about Puckpedia. I'm talking about anywhere. Like, especially the NHL app and the NHL website. Like, you are literally the NHL. You should it's like. I know a lot of guys. There's like hybrid center wing. Then list them as a hybrid between center and wing. Like, this isn't hard to figure out. Like, teams post their lineups every single day.
Yeah, okay, listen to this list of centers. I don't know why Trevor Lewis is at the top of the free agent center list on Puckpedia, but
Yeah, he's great.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, but yeah, Claude Giroux, which is not a center anymore, Marchand, which isn't, he's not a center.
I don't know if he's ever been a center.
JT, we've talked about. Lars Eller,
Dude,
I don't know.
Their
like,
only option is trade market. There's nobody on the open market anymore.
that's
Jack
what I was
Roslovic.
wanting to get to. Like Nick Butstad would be nice, but he's a third line center. He's not a top.
That's not your
He's not.
2C.
I mean,
Yeah,
you could,
that's
you
not
could take a
2C.
shot on a guy like Roslovic, who I actually is a center, I think. And
Still not a
he's-
2C to me. That's like
Not
a
a
middle
2C.
six
No,
guy.
I mean his.
And he's a flawed
career high is, like,
middle six
very
guy, because in your
flawed,
middle six
yeah.
you kind of want like physicality and defensive responsibility and all that stuff, and I don't
He'll
think Roslovic is that
score,
guy.
but he's like he's kind of like a bigger like Robertson in my head that just plays more.
he's
consistently.
like Max Domi as a 4C, Jack Roslovic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like
I-
I'm looking at this, like there's not a lot of guys for that can fit that. So what I wanted to say was, moving on to the trade market, is there any guys who you guys look at? Like I agree with Seb here that I think
Yeah.
Carlson would be my option. I think
He'd be my number one option. I think I've also seen Zibanejad a little bit, but I just
Don't
think
want it.
Carlson.
Don't
I
want
think
anything
Carlson's
to
a
do with
different
Zibanejad.
situation where Vegas very clearly wants to go for Marner. It's all we've really seen in the media for the past little bit, and they're gonna have to shed some salary to do that. Pietrangelo is going to be on LTIR for the entire year, so that's
the
about
two
$8
names have
million.
been Stone and Carlson, really, that I've seen floated around, and I doubt they trademarked Stone.
Yeah, I think they'll probably go Carlson before that. I
Yeah.
think he's at I think one more year at 5.9.
I believe.
I believe,
so.
Yeah.
if I'm
Yeah, you're
correct,
right.
or it's like 5 million on the dot. I think actually. Sorry. I
it's
think
5.9.
yeah, that's a very. He had a little bit of a down year. If you these are the situations that the Leafs got to capitalize on with these like cap strap, especially this offseason where they don't have the assets to make these big name trades. They got to really capitalize on these situations where there could be some upside, and I think William Karlsson, there's a lot of upside there. If I remember correctly, he had 29 points in like 50
in
something
53
games.
games.
Yeah, 53
Yeah,
games.
so
But last year he was a 30-30 guy playing on their third line with like
Yeah.
Paul Cotter.
Just sorry to interrupt, but he is making 5.9, and then his contract's up
5.9?
after next year.
That's okay. I mean,
Yeah, he had 30 and 30 in 70 games last year. Like the thing
Yeah,
is
like,
with
he was
Carlson, you're
great.
never. He doesn't play full seasons very often, but if you get him healthy for the playoffs, that's a solid option.
And
Although
He's a
and you
Stanley
know
Cup
what?
champion.
You mentioned with William Karlsson, or sorry, with John Tavares that you don't want to play in 2C, but I do think John Tavares in a pinch at 2C is doable.
no, I don't. Okay,
For
sorry,
sure.
I
Great
don't
to have
mind.
the
I don't
option.
mind it during the regular season at stretches. I don't want him being the 2C in the
Yeah.
playoffs.
And I mean, looking at William Karlsson's playoff like statistics too, he's pretty good in the playoffs. In their cup run, 11 goals in 22 games, 17 points.
Don't want
This
this
year,
2023, 2024 playoff.
yeah, it's okay.
2
Not
assists in
great,
7
but
games.
it's always
The Mitch Marner
you'll always
special.
have your off series. But like looking at it, for a guy that makes 5.9 million, those are really respectable numbers. He had 16
Sure.
points in 19 games.
In 2020,
And-
2021.
Yeah, 2021.
Okay, I've got an
This is a
interesting
really
one.
respectable guy. I think
I'm-
he'd be a really good fit.
I'm just looking through like lists of centers right now. Here's an interesting one that I haven't really seen come up, and I don't know how realistic it would be them trading him. But Nick Schmaltz. I can tell by your
That's a
reaction that you never
situation
thought
where
about it.
I would like Nick Schmaltz as a player. Don't get me wrong. I just think that might be a situation where the Leafs don't have the assets to do it.
He's never played in the playoffs. He's coming off of
Never
an
played in
82
the
game
playoffs, that's
season with
crazy.
Utah, 20 goals, 63 points. Like he's an underrated player in this league.
I
because
just
think he's
don't-
played in
I just don't know
Arizona
if you're
so
gonna get
long.
him out of Utah. Like I think
Yeah,
every
he seems kind of important. I think
in Utah
he
has
has
been
a-
that Ryan Smith, the owner, is looking to spend big money this offseason and really make a push for
a
the playoffs. So I
name-
doubt they're shedding that much salary.
Yeah,
a name I've seen a little more as like a trade chip. If you're
Unless you get
talking
Morgan
about a
Riley,
center,
maybe.
is Barry Hayton. That's a guy I've seen as more of like a trade chip. That or Matthias Michelli as well, but I don't think he's a center.
No, I don't think so.
That would be an
Um,
interesting get to for the Leafs. I think Michelli was pretty good last year. I would or like not 2024, the year before. Sorry.
I don't know if I like Hayton,
but I don't know.
I think he.
Hayton's okay.
I think he might have the same issues that you have with Roslovic.
Yeah, a little bit.
Although if you play him with Willie Nylander, he's probably going to score more than 46 points. So
Yeah,
20 goals.
I'm so like wide with like the playoff fit now too, which is a huge reason why I didn't want Zibanejad. I think, listen, like he is a little bit of a
Yeah.
Marner situation. Like I think you saw him stat pad against Washington in the first round last year, and then in the second round he disappeared and you didn't see him. And I think,
Yeah, and he makes way more than a guy like
makes
Will
more-
Karlsson.
and-
He's making
he
and
eight
I-
and a
10
half for
goals,
way
24
longer
points.
too.
in 20 games in 21-22, 10 goals, 24 points.
yeah,
He's
and
had-
had
Zibanejad.
decent playoff runs when you just look at them total, but I don't know like the
if you look at the
deep
series where they
dive
lose, he's
statistics.
always like just ghost. Like it's a ghost, and
Yeah,
they
like,
always complain. He doesn't.
haven't
He doesn't
seen
check
the,
well. He doesn't do a lot of stuff that you're gonna need from. Or I think he is too similar to what we have already with Matthews and Nylander, and I think he's less talented. And I think another thing that I was listening to
He's like 31.
yeah, SDP. We talked about them fairly often on the pod, but Jesse Blake said it's kind of like you bring in an $8 million player, and you're kind of like in the same situation you were in before. And I didn't really think about that when I was looking at Zibanejad,
Yeah,
and I
like-
kind of agree. It's like I don't know, you just fill the hole with another $8 million player. Like you save maybe $5 million at that point if you sign JT and you bring back Zibanejad. And I just think it's more of the same. And I think Zibanejad's more flawed, and I don't want them to go
Yeah.
anywhere near that. And I know all the stereotypes of like, oh, he doesn't care, and like, listen, you could say whatever you want, like whatever. I'm not a Rangers fan. I don't watch enough of Zibanejad like shift to shift to know if he actually does care or how much he does care.
Yeah.
But I just don't think the style of play fits for what the Leafs need, and I think
Yeah,
it's very similar to what we have already.
I'm very
think there are a
skeptical.
lot of options
He
out
also Zibanejad also has like a full no move right now, and like he
Yeah.
has to waive. I'm pretty sure Will Karlsson
Which-
doesn't have any trade. Or I think Will Karlsson has a 10 team. No
But
trade.
dude, like look what's happening in New York. I don't think the no trade matters at all. To be
Yeah,
quite honest
I
with you.
just
Like,
yeah, I don't know, and he's making 8.5 for another like 5 years after
I
this
don't
too.
like
Like
that.
you
Long deal,
really
yeah.
got to commit to like something. Like you got to really commit to some sort of like rehabilitation there on that player because he
Yeah.
had a really down year. By his standards,
Here's,
I don't know. I'd be
here-
much more comfortable with like a William Karlsson.
If I could care to piss you off for a minute here, I have the perfect option. It's Jared McCann.
oh my god, isn't he a winger?
Also,
No, he's.
I'm pretty sure he's a center.
Uh,
Now he is, at least. I'm pretty sure he plays.
let
center
me
on
let me
Seattle.
let me check. Let me check Daily Faceoff.
If it weren't for his contract, I think Bo Horvat would be a great option, but he's
Would
in
be
year
interesting,
three of
yeah.
an 8-year deal that pays him 8.5.
Yeah.
He's coming off a 28 goal, 57 point season with the New York Islanders, who are
Yeah, but you also pay Islanders
22.
tax on those stats too, because they don't really play that high scoring. Like,
Yeah, for sure. He also has a full no trade. I mean, 8.5.
Jared-
It's the same problem as Zibanejad, and he's older.
Jared
think.
McCann finished the season on the left wing of Stevenson.
yeah,
On the second line. He has been a winger, I think, for the most part for the
See,
past couple of
this
years.
comes back to the whole fucking problem with icing players that
I'm
aren't
so
centers and
upset
centers,
that
'cause I don't
dude-
know. I don't know either. Like
I am so well. I mean, the Leafs don't have the assets to make this work, but another name that's been floating around is Marco Rossi. But
I
don't know,
also
think you
don't
run into
want
the same
Marco Rossi
playoff
against
issues.
Florida.
the way
Yeah,
you
like
have
you
to
run
think
into the
about it
same kind of
is, like,
playoff issues.
Yeah.
Okay, the way that I think you have to think about it is, okay, Sam Bennett's the perfect guy, but there's a lot of drawbacks and a lot of reasons you can't have him. What player has something similar to what Sam Bennett has?
Which is
Or,
why I
like-
think it's like I honestly, Carlson's not the same player, but I do think he's the best option available.
I would
There you go.
love William Karlsson.
But the
Braden
thing I
Schen's
want
out
to
there.
say when we get to the trade market, it's like, what do you have to trade? Like I don't know.
Oh
Do
my
you
God.
like Easton Cowan? It looks like he'll probably make the lineup just because we don't have anybody. Like
I think
Cowan-
he's ready anyways. So.
Cowan, I'm intrigued. I don't know what his value is because I don't really know what his ceiling is at this point. Like, is he
Well, I mean,
a
listen,
bottom six guy?
if
Could he
you
be
if
a
you go
top
based off the reporting
six?
during the trade deadline, teams do covet him. Like there's a lot of teams that value him the same as a first round pick, which I mean he was a first round pick, but still like values change.
I'm
after
intrigued in
development.
Ben
Like,
Danford too. He really does seem like it seems like they're grooming him to be the Chris Tanev replacement.
Yeah, but he's in
he
here
really
like 3 or
seems
4
like-
years. Like,
Well,
I don't
exactly.
know.
That's why I'm saying it seems like they're
Yeah.
grooming him to be that Chris Tanev replacement by the time Chris Tanev's riding off into the LTIR sunset.
Give me
Roby
Dmitry
Doll
have
Island
Ben
2.0.
Danford.
2.0. It's Tana Violet now. It's not Roby Doll
Tanev
Island.
Island.
Give me Dmitry Voronkov.
I don't think that guy's getting traded.
But
Hey,
it's
47
honestly, dude, it's so hard to talk about the Leafs offseason because, like, listen, we're still around the Cup final time. Like, there's not tons of reporting. A lot of it's still being focused on the game, and the Cup final just ended. We're going to talk about it very soon here, but
Oh yeah.
I don't
there's-
know. I don't know what's happening. Like, it's so hard to get a grasp on what's actually going on because
Yeah.
the reporting has been kind of spotty on what's actually happening with Knies. The reporting has been pretty clear on Mitch, but whatever. The reporting on
Actually-
GT feels like it's been flip-flopping to every other week,
I
depending on the number.
have one more name
Yeah, go ahead.
out of LA. What would you guys think? I don't know about for 2C, but
Deneau, or you
like
think Deneau?
yeah, like a Phil Deneau.
No.
No.
Dude, he doesn't score enough to be your 2C. I'm sorry. Like, he's a perfect third-line center. Like,
This
I
year he
don't
did
know.
have a down year, but I mean the past couple of years he's
8
been like a
goals, oh my
50-point
God.
guy while being pretty strong defensively. I mean,
Sorry, he had 8 goals last
it would be an.
He-
I
he's
think
not
it
a
would be an.
2C.
I think it would be an interesting fit if you're confident he can get back to at least like a 50-point level because that takes so much defensive responsibility off of a guy like Matthews in the playoffs. I feel like we've
Yeah, I mean,
like I feel like we've reverted to Matthews just being like the defensive guy in the playoffs when this is a guy that should be feasting on lower competition in the
so
playoffs.
many names out there that I'm just not interested in, like JG Pajot, Ryan Strome. Like
The
ah.
biggest
JG
problem is that they
Pajot
don't-
would have been a good acquisition this year at the deadline. I think
For a 3C.
I
again,
would
though,
have
like,
I
he's
would
not
have
a
liked that
2C.
as the 3C, but not as
yeah,
the 2C.
it was wrong to go into the playoffs with Max Domi as 3C. That
Well,
was
dude, they
just-
thought Scott Lawton would fill. Then he got here, and it was like, oh shit. Like,
but
I
we
don't
all
know.
knew that wasn't going to work.
I'm
Why did
confident
they
in
not
Scott
know?
Lawton bouncing back next year too, though. I think
Not
he's
as a
going to
center.
be a lot better than
It's the
what
same
we
fucking
saw.
thing. He doesn't play
He's
center.
not a center.
Yeah,
dude.
he's
He's
not
on
a
the wing,
center.
like-
But
Yeah,
I
we
do
said that
think
before the deadline too. We said he was a winger. Like a lot of his best players on the wing. And then
Yes.
Philly like shoved him
Yes.
into center because they knew they'd get more value if they traded him as a center.
I do think we're gonna see a better Scott Lawton next year though as well.
I hope so, man. Like
if
I don't
we
know.
play him at
I
He's
agree
playing
with
on the
you.
wing.
I'm
I
happy.
think we're gonna see a better. Like how many
Third line
times have
left
we
wing,
seen it?
I'm happy.
How many times have we seen it where a guy gets traded? You know, at the deadline, especially after how much time Lawton spent in Philly. Like he comes here, kind of still figuring it out. Seemed to play a lot better in the playoffs, but the scoring still wasn't really there. I think we'll see him maybe probably at like a 15 goal pace next year.
Montreal
Which is
fumbled not
fine. It's
trading
just
Jake
the
Evans.
center. The center problem is still a thing.
No,
And, like I
yeah,
don't know.
it's still 100% a thing.
Like that's what I was kind of driving at here. I'm like the
I'm
offseason
still-
is so tough because the free agent market's so dry, and everyone's like,
Yeah.
oh, at least have cap space. Well, everyone has cap space because the cap is skyrocketing.
And
And then
Leafs
you look
have
at
no
everyone's like,
assets.
oh, I see. I've been seeing like a few reports, like David Pagnotta reported that they're going to be a lot more active in the trade markets. Like, what do you have to trade? Like I said,
They
Cowan's
have
probably,
Ben Danford, Cowan, and like a second round pick this year.
yeah. Like I don't know. What do you have to trade on?
This is why I'm saying
And the
they
other thing is
gotta.
like you trade off the roster, but what do you trade off the roster? Like no one's
Here's
like
have
what's the
cap
value
Here's a
for
conversation
like-
that I want to have.
Yeah.
Here's I'm glad you brought that up because I think there might be a Morgan Riley conversation to be had.
But
They
no, but
already
all the
said he's
reporting
not
there
getting
was, too was
moved.
like he's never waving the Leafs won't ask. Like, that's what LeBron said. Like, and then also even if you do trade Mo, like what's his value anyways? Like you're like I don't know. Like what do you get in return for Morgan Riley with that contract right now? I don't think it's that.
It's
I don't think it's
brutal.
anything.
It's
like,
brutal. I really
valuable.
don't know what they could
Erik
do
Karlsson.
about that.
Dude, shut up with Erik Karlsson. Seb,
Hey, that
shut
wasn't
up,
me.
dude.
That was Seb.
I know that Seb. I don't want to hear it. That is the worst idea you have had. I don't want to hear it. No, Erik Karlsson in
It's
Toronto.
far from the worst idea he's had.
Well,
That doesn't mean it's a
ideas
good idea.
hockey related.
Give me Josh Norris.
No, once upon a time, I thought
Dude, don't sewer yourself right
that
now.
Nick Patan should have been in the lineup. I'm just joking. That was never a thing.
Also, I want to say one thing.
do remember when
A lot
we
of
got
people were
Nick
looking at the
Patan,
lineup and
though.
they're like, "What if we trade Joseph Wool?" Shut up, please. Stolars
is
is here
so
for one more
stupid.
year.
No,
like
don't
it's
trade
just
Joseph.
so
Dude,
stupid.
we have great
Franchise
goaltending. We have
mode
great
upgrade.
For the first time
goaltending.
ever.
Great goaltending for like the first time in decades this year. Yeah, let's trade one of them.
yeah, the youngest one too, and the one
If
that's
they're
like
gonna if they're gonna
we signed some good
trade
deal.
if they're gonna trade a goalie, they should move off of Hildeby. I think.
If you're gonna trade one of the two stars, trade Stolars. His value is the highest. it
Or
will
yeah,
ever
trade
be right now.
Stolars. But
Yeah.
I think if they're gonna move off a goalie, they should move off a guy like Hildeby. Maybe
or
explore-
Akimov. I don't even know what his value would be.
I don't know about
but
Akimov because I don't know what kind of value he's got, but at least Hildeby probably has.
They held to be got
decent-
shelled in the NHL every single time he played this
He
year.
got
Like, I don't know what his
shelled,
value is
but he
either.
probably still does have maybe like a little bit of value. I'd maybe explore that if you're gonna put that in deal. They still have Robertson too. That
Which is
probably
nothing,
gets
dude.
traded.
Like, oh
It's
my God.
probably nothing, but maybe he gets moved in a bigger deal. A guy I would be kind of interested in, maybe in terms of like an RFA.
JJ Paterka.
Yeah, JJ Paterka.
Oh, baby.
No, in terms of like a RFA for RFA swap, guys that are in struggling situations.
Yeah.
Jonathan Berggren in Detroit would be kind of interesting. He seems to have some of the same issues as Robertson. I think he has scored at a little bit better of like a points clip than Robertson at times.
I don't know.
But,
about that. He got
he's
24
in another
points in 75
situation-
games.
He's in another situation in Detroit where he kind of wants out. I'd maybe look into that because he can play center. He is more of a like he can play center.
You guys know about Gustav Nyquist's fall off? Holy
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
He had
That guy had like
75
70
last year.
points.
Yeah.
He had 28. What the hell
Yeah.
happened?
Minnesota
Nashville,
Wild
that's what happened.
player.
Anyways, what do you guys think of Trevor Zegras on the Leafs?
Don't want it.
Dude,
Don't.
I would
dude,
cry.
stay away,
I would
please.
cry. Oh,
Don't.
Do you know who
God.
had? Here's two players who had the exact same amount of points for the Utah Hockey Club last year: Kevin Stenlund and Alexander Kerfoot. Isn't that a fun little fact?
Kevin
Kerfoot was never
Stenlund.
good.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry,
Let's
guys,
move
I'm
on
way
from
off
the
topic
offseason
here.
outlook. We'll have a lot more to talk about once the draft starts.
Mason
coming around.
Marchment, I am so upset.
Oh,
I am
I
so
forgot.
upset.
Jack
I
McDaniel.
am
Mason
so
Marchment-
upset.
Mason Marchment was a target
Oh my
that
God,
I really
I wanted
the
him
Leafs
so
to go
bad.
after. I am just pulling up the trade details right now because I want to get the years right on the draft picks.
Oh my God, I'm so upset, dude.
Sorry, give me 1 second here. Just pulling it up.
It's a
yeah,
third
I-
and a fourth.
It was a 2026 third round pick and a 2025 fourth round pick that went to
Come
Dallas
on,
from Seattle.
dude.
And I think the biggest thing there is that they didn't have to retain any salary. Like Seattle took the full contract on. But I wanted the Leafs to really look into that.
Were
I
the
thought you
Le-
would've
did the
been-
Leafs need them to retain salary? You're losing Mitch Marner, and John
Yeah.
Tavares is getting his contract like slashed in half or leaving. Did you need them to
Marchment makes-
retain? Like what
Marchment
the
makes
fuck,
4.5, which I think is a great deal for what Marchment brings. Although his
Oh
playoff
my
performance in the last
God,
couple
like,
years has been
come-
pretty terrible. I mean, not terrible, but like not not optimal. Hold on, let me just pull it up here. I mean,
I'm
this
just
season
like-
it was a topic of conversation. He had 1 goal, 5 points in 18 games. Last year, 5 points in 13 games. Year before, 6 points.
I
in
think
18
it's
games.
tough when you're in Dallas though too, because they're so deep to a point where it's like, I think a lot of guys, like nobody on Dallas really overperforms in the playoffs if you think about it. Besides like Mikko Rantanen this year,
Yeah, he was great.
they don't really get a lot of like standout performances.
Can I
because
just
they're
say
so
something, too?
deep.
I like the move for Seattle, but that is the most Seattle player ever. Another like
Yeah,
middle
like another
scorer,
middle
like,
six winner.
Like, all right, dude. Like, I don't know.
I don't know if I like that for Seattle. I think that's the
No,
doesn't
dude,
really
you gave
help
up.
him.
Listen, you give up nothing. He has like the physical tools to be a very good player. We've seen him perform pretty well in the NHL.
Yeah.
I don't mind the deal, but I don't know what they're doing with that. I haven't known what they've been doing with that forward core
They just
since they
piss
got
me
into the
off.
league. It's just
They
like it's so
piss me off.
flat. Like it's nothing, dude. Like I don't know.
It's just mid. They haven't. They've never. Besides like the Beniers draft, they haven't really been bad enough to get
Yeah.
like a top pick to get
Well,
like
Shane
a,
Wright.
They got
And even
Oh, yeah,
like,
they got
2021
Wright,
was
which
the
Wright's
wrong
looking
year
pretty
to do that,
good.
too.
Berkeley Catton looks pretty good. I don't
Edward
know. We'll see what his ceiling
It's been quite a
is.
while for him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. They're besides the point, I am so upset that the Leafs did not acquire that player. It feels like there's so many guys that the Leafs, it's like they're talked about being like in on, and then you see the return that they got, and they're like, why did we not pay that?
Well, I mean,
Like, is
in
that
years
like what
past-
were you held up on?
I mean,
don't get
we've
it.
already talked about this, and it's obvious. But in years past, the problem for Toronto has been,
Salary.
the salary cap. Oh, but they have like all this
That
money locked
should
up with
not
4
be a
guys. And
problem
it's
this
not
year.
true anymore. And like,
Yeah.
I'm really hoping this year can change things. It's too bad it's a dog ass free agent class. I mean, we haven't even
Dude.
mentioned Brad Marchand yet, whose name has been around
Oh.
Toronto quite a bit. I don't know if
I'd
that's
be intrigued.
Honestly,
that's
I would
real
take
at
it, but
all.
he's not a center though. That's a problem I
Not
have.
a
Like, I don't-
center.
like-
I
I
don't
think
know.
they
I
do
there's
need a
still
winger,
hole
though,
in wings,
too.
So
No,
there's
they
a lot of
do,
holes
but
up
it's just like,
front.
like no,
If
they
you're
do
gonna
need a
spend that
winger.
money, you're gonna.
But
you're
yeah,
gonna
like I'd
get
rather
a center.
pay significantly more up the middle than
I
I am
think-
on the wing.
This might sound like for me hypocritical because of what I was saying with Sam Bennett earlier, but I do think Brad Marchand at 8 is so much more worth it than Sam Bennett at 8 because with Brad
Culture
Marchand,
change,
you're
too.
getting a guy who's so respected in the league.
Yeah.
I genuinely think if he came to the Leafs, the culture is immediately
He
different
has
here.
also been a demon against us. Like, please,
Yeah,
like,
he's just
make
a
it so
playoff
we don't have
demon
to
in
play
general.
against them.
Just a
Yeah.
playoff demon in general, year in year out. I think he should have won the Conn Smythe, to be honest with you. But like just year in year out, playoff demon, and again, just such a respected guy in the league. He's been there now, a 2-time Cup champ. I do think he would be a real big. His arrival would be, I think, a culture shock to this team.
It would definitely help, and I definitely want him to
Replaces
like mentor
some of the
Knies,
PK
too.
stuff you're losing with Mitch too.
Yeah. I am like his legs look good right now, but I would obviously take Marshall. I don't know what you do with the salary up the middle then because you were taking a big chunk out of it.
Yeah, and Marchand's
Move off of
been for a 3-year
Yarncroke
deal.
and move off of Yarncroke and Camp and
It's only $4 million.
but allocate that money to a guy like Will Carlson.
I guess, but yeah, I guess you're right. I don't know. Anyways, I want to move on to the Cup final because we're an hour and a half in and we still haven't even like spoken about it, and a team just won the Stanley Cup.
A team that we all hate and
Yeah.
despise.
Anyways.
I cannot stand them, dude.
Anyways, the Florida Panthers take down Edmonton in 6 games when it really did not feel like 6 at all. It kind of felt like Edmonton got manhandled.
Just dominated.
It didn't really feel like a close series to me at all, to be honest with you. Like the first 2
Edmonton-
games, obviously, but like
Edmonton was leading for a total of 33 minutes that
Yeah.
entire series. Like
Yeah.
That's crazy.
they were
Yep.
not really there. I don't know.
And honestly, I've been thinking about this, and I truly believe that the biggest flaws with Edmonton are what ended up doing them in again, and it's they get through. So what I'm gonna say is that they're. I've always hated their decor. I've always thought their decor wasn't good enough, and I think it proved again it wasn't good enough.
Yep.
I think their goaltending has never been good enough, and it proved again it wasn't good enough. And I think
Dude.
everyone will say, "Oh, they got to the Cup final, they got to the conference, or back-to-back years, they got to the conference final before that."
Not thanks to them. Not
No,
thanks to
but-
the goaltending.
No, but I think that the Western Conference plays their style of hockey, so it's a little bit more open than the Eastern Conference. And you see them where they're able to outscore teams a lot more in the West because, like I said, it's more open. It's a lot faster. Like the game is so fast in the Western Conference.
Yeah,
If you watch
absolutely. And honestly, I think that's exactly how they beat the Kings. They just
Right.
outscored them.
They outscored them, they outskated them, and I think when you go against an Eastern Conference team that slows the pace down, that clogs up the middle, which is a lot of Eastern Conference playoff hockey. Like honestly, it's a lot more. It's a more boring
It's a
style of hockey in the
slog.
Eastern Conference.
It's a slog at times.
And when you play against the best version of, or the team that plays that version of hockey the best in the league, it exposes you because McDavid doesn't have the space. Forsling was on him the whole series.
Oh my god.
And
He
listen,
just-
I don't like you're not gonna tag McDavid that often because he stayed so fast, but Ekblad tagged him. But the thing is with Forsling is that he was just disruptive. Like even if he got a piece of him to slow down his speed, like McDavid loves the windup because he stayed so fast. It's crazy to watch. Obviously, but they just get a piece of it. They get a stick on the puck where it kind of fumbles it. He fumbles it around the blue line, where it slows his speed down to keep him to the outside. And Florida is so good at that, and Barkov is there too. He plays a big role in that.
They're,
But then
they're
sorry, go ahead.
no, sorry, finish your thought.
It forces the Edmonton Oilers' depth, which I think a lot of people thought was a lot better than it actually was, to show up. And I think listen, obviously the Hyman injury hurts.
Huge.
You don't want Corey Perry playing on your first line with McDavid. Like he's been fantastic. It's been a great story, Corey Perry, but I don't want him on my first line.
Yeah,
So if Hyman's there,
definitely
maybe
not.
that series changes a bit. But even then, I don't think it changes that much.
Maybe you get it to 7. I don't know.
Maybe I don't know how much Hyman in that lineup changes it that much. I just think that Kapanen played well in his role, but I think people started having a lot of revisionist history of Kapanen. Like when he was in Toronto, he deserved to be traded. I don't think he was that great. Like he didn't stand out that often. He had his flashes, but
I
he
mean,
wasn't.
let's
Like,
be
we got a
real. They
first-round
traded
pick for
him.
him.
Let's be real. They traded him because of the cap. Him and
did.
Janssen were dealt in that same offseason. They couldn't afford them both.
Those were terrible contracts, mind you.
Those
Yeah,
weren't
like-
great deals either.
Like
but-
people are talking about like, oh, we lost him. It's like, dude, he went to 3 other franchises before he ended up in Edmonton, and like,
Yeah, like
not
like-
let's
it's not like
let's
he was
not
amazing
like
either.
pretend
Yeah.
here that it was a like terrible deal.
yeah. And I
this
think
was a huge
guys like
rebound
Pod
for him.
Colson, like, yeah, he had like good moments in the playoffs, but you see it when you go up against a team that has real. Everyone talks about a deep team until the deepest team shows up, and then you see what depth is. And I think we saw that with the Leafs too. We're like, oh, like Domi could score, Robertson could score. Then you go and play against Evan Rodriguez in the bottom
I-
six or Lundell, and you're like, oh shit, like that's depth. Like,
I just want to touch on Evan Bouchard because
okay, hold on. I'm going to get to their decor.
Okay.
Because
Because
it's a real story, and I don't want to
Yeah.
Bouchard yet. I want to start from the bottom up with their decor. I think you saw Knobloch needs a little bit of criticism here too, because he played Troy Stetcher 5 minutes one night,
yeah,
which
and
is
then
like-
went back to him the next
went
game.
back to him again. Yeah, like what changes between those 2 days? We're like, okay, I could play this guy 5, or I could rely on
I
this guy
can't
for
play
only
this guy
5 minutes.
more than 5 minutes.
Yeah,
Like,
but
he
then
benched
next
him for
game,
the
like-
entire game. He benched him for like the entire game.
Yeah, which hurts your team because you're playing with 5 defensemen for the whole night.
But then you go back to him the next day.
Right, and you're also relying on Ekholm, who's been out for months. And listen,
Yeah.
Ekholm's a great player, but any guy who's been out for months and misses large chunks of the playoffs, and then just thrown into a top pairing role. Like a lot of these guys that we see with LTIR, they're forwards, and forwards you could hide a little bit more. Like if they're not great one game, you can get them to pick up the slack another. When you play with the top pairing defenseman, you can't just like bury him until the playoffs start. And they didn't do that on purpose, but they missed him for a few, like the whole playoffs up until the Cup final, right? Like he didn't play against Dallas, or maybe he played one game against Dallas, but you saw the rust there. And then honestly, it comes back down to the salary structure too. Like Darnell Nurse is making 9.25. I'm sorry, you can't be making
That's
9.25.
one of the worst contracts in the league. No,
like-
one of the not
people-
good ones.
People love him because he's a prick to play against. Like he's not $9.25 million.
I don't even
I
know
mean,
what he
look,
did
I
in the
think- I
season
think
he
their
got that
problems-
contract.
Go ahead, Jacob.
Sorry, I was just gonna say I think like Their salary structure, I don't think it's that bad. Like, yeah, Darnell Nurse is a huge issue in that. I'll let you continue on that in a second. But I think honestly they kind of fucked it up in last offseason with the forwards. Victor Arvidsson and Adam Henrique combined for $7 million. Like
Which
that's
I will say I've been kind of surprised with Arvidsson. I thought like getting him healthy, like a healthy Arvidsson would have been better. And I thought Jeff Skinner would have been better.
Too, yeah.
Both those deals that I thought were going to be very good deals for Edmonton ended up being like kind of flops. Like,
I mean, Skinner should have been
really mid.
Yeah, like I don't know if the fit the fit wasn't there or something like that. But I do agree with you that they messed up their forward group a little bit. But I think honestly, Nurse makes too much, and then now you're gonna and now like when I go back to salary structure and sub, this is where you just start talking about Bouchard, but. Whether you like Bouchard or not, he's probably making $9 to $10 million on his deal.
Probably over 10.
Probably over 10 now because they have $11.9 million in cap space,
which is what I was going to get to.
Yeah,
now
you're McDavid up to $14 million.
Yeah, which honestly, it's I'd give Draisaitl 14. Like he performs in the playoffs, whatever. It's not that these guys aren't worth it. Aside from Nurse, I don't like Darnell Nurse, but I think the guys that you have now, you're paying Ekholm like pretty big money. I can't quite remember what his cap is.
It's like 6.2, I think.
Which is very solid for Ekholm.
That's what Darnell Nurse should be making.
Right. If you swap those two cap hits, honestly, if you swap the two cap hits, then it's like
it'd be more stomachable.
Yeah. But you're gonna get Bouchard making like over $10 million now, and now you have Nurse there with 9.25. You're gonna now McDavid today was like, oh yeah, like I'm gonna have
leave.
McDavid was like, I'm gonna have to talk to I'll talk about it with my family and my
talk to his family about what GTA suburb they want to live in.
Yeah, whatever. We'll get to that. But honestly,
I heard there's a house on Mississauga Road for you, JT. I drove by it all the time. It's very JT. Jesus Christ,
McDavid, right beside JT.
I'm already messing up the negotiations, dude.
Anyways,
no, but I think like I was saying, like I think they had a golden opportunity over the past couple of seasons when Leon Draisaitl was making $8.5 million.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And
no.
Like, you need to go all in on those
now.
years when you have that cap space. You're right. They're fucked because Nuke makes 5.1, which is McDavid at 12.
Evander Kane's
probably okay for Nuke.
He's getting traded, right? Like that's what it sounds like.
Leave?
I wouldn't trade Kane if I'm the Oilers. I know you got to make up the cap space, but
maybe
and it's
depends.
The easiest one to trade because he actually has value on like Victor Arvidsson.
But did you see that the NHL is gonna start like fucking digging into them for how they use the LTR?
Which is so funny to me because Matthew Tkachuk. Matthew Tkachuk.
I don't even like the Oilers, but I would be fuming if I was an Oiler fan.
You're telling me that they're gonna look into that with Edmonton, but they didn't look into that with Nikita Kucherov. They didn't look
Mark
into
Stone.
it with Mark Stone. They didn't look into it with Matthew Tkachuk. Matthew Tkachuk this playoffs, who he said to the media, "Yeah, I didn't know I was gonna play until Game 1 of the playoffs."
Yeah,
they literally woke up.
No,
be dead ass right now with me. Am I stupid? Do you think I'm stupid?
Like everyone knows what's happening there. I think it's ridiculous that they're gonna start grilling Edmonton now for some reason. Like I don't think that. And another thing on Edmonton is
conspiracy. It's time to have a conversation.
That's what I was gonna say. I didn't think about it until now, and then like Ottawa getting fucked because of the Dadonov thing.
Yeah,
like,
it's time to have a conversation.
But honestly, and then another thing I think with the Oilers, Trent Frederick wasn't he was always gonna be risky because he barely played, but he wasn't great.
Weird deal.
And
contract.
Listen, I don't even want. Okay, you know what? No, we can't talk about the contract because it's gonna be 8 years, around $4 million.
You needed that guy at
I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
You need Trent Frederick at $4 million. You need
over
that,
8
really,
years
dude? What? I want to know. You give terms so you can take the AAV down. What was this guy asking for when it wasn't $8 million?
This guy missed.
Was he asking for $7 million? What are we doing?
This guy was not good in the regular season, and I know he was all right. I know he was all right in the playoffs, but
no, he wasn't. He had 4 points in 22 games. What the hell are you talking about? He was
like
good.
7
injured,
I mean,
that's
all right, man.
I don't know what the Oilers are doing with their cap situation. Because listen,
you know what they're doing?
The two offer sheets. We always talked about Broberg. Yeah, I understand not matching, but Holloway
should have been matched.
Holloway should have been matched.
Should have been
matched.
And everyone
back now, the Ryan McLeod trade is just really getting
kind of odd a little bit too.
I mean, Ryan
Well,
McLeod,
listen,
what,
I think you
50
were gonna have to
points in
move
Buffalo?
salary anyways, but because
What
that
is
was
he- what
I'm
is
pretty
McLeod?
sure Ryan McLeod was on his ELC,
was he in,
or like
no,
he was
no,
not
no,
making that
TLC,
much
but-
money.
still
find
you
him.
you're shit out your bottom. I don't know. At the time, everyone was like Edmonton fleeced.
Yo, I
everything.
mean
He's
Matthew
they
got-
extended
Savoy's
Adam Henrique last
ceiling.
summer.
Matthew Savoy's ceiling is better than Ryan McLeod, and
Yeah.
I think we'll see Savoy in the NHL next year. But Ryan McLeod
What are you
was
doing
like a
making future
50-point
trades
player
after
this
going to
year.
the Cup final though? He makes 2.1 million as a 50-point player.
McLeod, sorry,
Yeah,
I
but,
think
I mean,
McLeod.
we're also but we're talking about Kampf and Yarncroke like cap dumps too. Like 2.2
McLeod was
million
making
dollars matters. Like
McLeod was making $2.1 million.
I don't even, dude. McLeod would ever do. Like I don't think McLeod would have been a difference maker really for this team. But I'm more so talking about
He had
Holloway.
50
Like Holloway.
points.
Holloway would have been. Holloway's like.
No, I know, but in the dude, they still made the Cup final. I don't. I think the depth. Do you think McLeod really pushes him over Florida? I don't think he really does.
Probably
I don't think it made
not.
sense
You know,
to sign Arvidsson for $4 million when you knew you had
Yeah.
Holloway, and you would have got him for less than what he signed.
yeah, less money. You could have matched the offer sheet for Holloway, and he'd be making $2 million less. Maybe that gives you the money to go and get a guy,
This,
goalie, instead of
Yes.
Calvin Pickard.
Which is another thing. Like Stan Bowman was like, "Oh no, we don't need a
Oh my
goalie in
God.
the regular season." And
I am so
that was so perplexing. Even when he said, "I was like, what are you talking?" I've never been a
don't-
Stuart Skinner fan. I've always, I don't like him. I don't like the goaltender. Like I don't like him as a goalie. I think
I'm sure he's a nice guy.
yeah, he seems like a great guy.
Big
but I
mustache.
mean, like, he has a crazy stash, dude.
Good stash.
great stash.
But yeah,
but
no,
I
listen,
honestly think like this could be a devastating era in Oilers history. It can go down as like
Because you have
Yeah.
Stan Bowman
Terrible
as your general
mismanagement.
manager.
why Ken Holland, Stan Bowman, like Peter Chiarelli, like it's just been they've been managed horribly over the like you got.
And you know what's crazy?
Better, but
You know,
they
you
still
know
had
what's
Drysdale
crazy?
for $8 million with all those guys. Like,
No. But you know what? You know what the most insane thing I'm about to tell you is? When the Oilers hired Ken Holland, it came down to two guys. Guess who the other guy was?
I can't remember.
don't know.
Bill Zito.
Oh my God, was it actually? I did not remember.
The
I
other,
didn't
it was
know.
down to two guys, and they narrowed it down to Ken Holland and Bill Zito, and they picked Ken Holland. But
Yeah.
even this year, dude, you had to go with Stan Bowman was your best option. Stan Bowman.
There were other guys.
Stan
Man. There's
Bowman,
no way
man.
Stan Bowman
That guy
was
was
the best guy.
awful at the end of his Chicago tenure, dude. That guy made the Pinard or
Dude,
Facade
he didn't
trade.
Even, he didn't even do too much with Chicago in the Cup year. Like he had kind of like inherited that squad.
Yeah,
and-
it was that was all Dale Talon.
Yeah.
Stan Bowman didn't do that. Stan Bowman is the one that ruined the team.
yeah.
Dude, that Pinard and Facade deal set that team back so
Yeah.
far. And he
I
made
do
that
want-
deal. He
yeah.
made the Seth Jones deal as well, which was terrible for Chicago at the time. Adam Boqvist didn't really pan out, but I mean, still that move that made no sense for Chicago. They looked like a rebuilding team, and it felt like they were just trying to
contract
cater
was
to Kane and
God
Taves.
awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they signed him to. Oh my God, no, he's not a good general
Imagine
manager.
being Stan
I
Bowman. You
don't
made
get it.
that deal. He screwed you over in Chicago, and then he screws you over in the Cup final because he's
Yeah.
unreal for Florida. Like that'd be my least favorite player of all time.
I was so perplexed from the day they hired Stan Bowman because I genuinely don't think he's ever been a good general manager.
Yeah, no, me
if
neither.
I'm being real. And he's just continuing to prove that. Last offseason, I don't think he did a good job. At least in retrospect, we all thought he made it okay. Besides the McLeod deal,
Which y'all know about Ian
but
Mitchell.
looking at it now, those were some terrible deals. And then the trade deadline kind of fumbled. I mean, Jake Wallman was a good get, but it wasn't their most glaring issue. The most glaring issue was goaltending, and it's been goaltending for 2 years.
And they just straight up said no.
2 years.
They just refused to do
Dude,
it.
it's always been
no,
an issue.
more than 2 years
Always.
actually. Yeah.
Like Cam
Always.
Talbot was the last good goalie they had, and that was for one season.
Yeah.
Mikko Koskinen, little there.
Shut up, Mike Smith.
Fuck off.
Mike Smith. Oh my.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that was just outrageous that they said no, that they don't need a goalie. And then Elliot Friedman was like, oh, but like the price, they don't like the prices. Well, dude, like McDavid is like a year away from being a free agent. Like, I don't know. Sometimes you just have to like bite the bullet and go get yourself a goalie that like, I don't know.
Like it's your most glaring issue, or do something like the Leafs did. Capitalize on somebody, man. We got Stolars at $2.5 million.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
yeah.
listen,
capitalize on
at the end of the day,
somebody, man.
it's a little bit of luck too. Like if you ask the Leafs front office, there was no chance they thought he'd be this good. Like I highly doubt it. Like I think they were probably thinking Wool would be the starter, Stolarz is the backup. Like
I mean, also
I'm
in
sure they
Edmonton's
expected him to
defense-
play 40 games. Like that's what they signed him to do. That's what they
in
said they
Edmonton-
signed him to do. That was
Yeah.
the thought process going into it. They were
To
giving
the
this guy more
defense-
opportunity.
To the defense of the Oilers, they did take a shot on Jack Campbell in free agency, which I mean should have worked out for them. Like that's just he
Man,
was a starter.
I
in
feel so
Toronto.
sad for that guy.
Yeah,
that was
I
one of my
love
favorite
Jack.
Leafs, man.
Like,
I
I
love
love
Jack.
Jack. I would take him back as a
I don't know.
third string.
Put him in
That's
like the
amazing.
Murray. Put him in like the Murray role. Why not? If Murray doesn't want to come back, I don't know.
That guy's been in the AHL for like 2 years now. Not Murray.
Yeah, put him in the Murray role. Why not?
Anyways, moving on. I don't know. We've talked a lot about Florida, just as all their free agents. Like I don't. They'll be interesting to watch next year because you're gonna get Bennett upgraded salary. Like you're probably losing
Yeah,
Marchand. We'll
Probably
see with
losing
Ekblad.
Ekblad. I don't think Ekblad's coming back unless he's taking like $5 million, dude. He'd have to take a serious pay cut to stay.
Which I could see happening. To be quite honest with you, like I
Maybe, but at the same time, dude, that guy could make like 8 to 9 on the open market. He's won his 2 cups. If I'm Ekblad, like I get you want to stay, whatever, but I don't know. If you're thinking money wise for your career, you've won your 2 cups. I'd probably leave if I was him because he's going to get grossly overpaid this offseason because he's not good.
Yeah, I think you're right. He's probably gonna get somewhere in the in around 8-9 million. Look what Philip
Yeah.
Roenick, is that his name? Philip Roenick got last
Philip
season.
Roenick, yeah,
Vancouver.
dude. Oh my God, Philip Roenick. I forgot that guy
right-hand-
existed. Holy
Right-handed
shit.
D, Aaron Ekblad. He's 2-time
Oh,
Stanley Cup champion.
I never
now in
talked about
Florida.
Bouchard.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
go ahead on
sorry.
your.
Oh
Bouchard
my
game.
God, dude, Bouchard in that game 6. I saw some people defending him, and I'm like, I don't know how you could defend that game 6 performance. He was those turnovers were the turnovers were whatever. I think the biggest issue the biggest thing I took away from that was I can't remember if it was the second or third goal, but it was one where they turned over the puck. They're coming back. Bouchard gets to the front of the net. Lundell's just sitting there screening Skinner. Like Skinner can't see a thing. And Bouchard just sits right at the post and doesn't put a finger on Lundell. Doesn't lay a finger on Lundell. And Lundell's just sitting there. He's sitting there in front of Skinner, uncontested, setting the craziest screen I've ever seen in my life. And Bouchard literally is sitting there just staring at him. And you're telling me this guy's going to make $10 million
He's
this
a bit of a
offseason.
give and take player of all time because he's a
Dude,
wizard
it's
with
so
the puck. But then like,
perplexing.
yeah,
Because even during the playoffs, he looked better defensively at
he
points.
did. No, I'm gonna be completely
he
honest with you
looked
guys.
a lot
My opinion
better.
kind of flipped on him because I thought like, oh, he has a playoff lock-in thing. Because last year he did the same thing. Like the regular
Yeah.
season, he was terrible. Playoffs, he was in there for big defensive moments, and I was like, oh
Yeah.
shit, like okay. And then this year it happened again. I'm like,
He's
oh,
so he's
it's
very
just so weird.
he's so inconsistent, and I think when you have consistency issues like that with a guy that's supposed to be your number 1 defenseman, you're gonna run into a lot of issues down the line when you decide to pay that guy like $10 million. I think they're going to not regret that. They definitely should re-sign Evan Bouchard, but there's going to be issues with
I mean,
with that
look,
deal. Like, there's going to be issues with that player unless he figures out how to stay more consistent because, like Mateo said,
Honestly-
he's the biggest give and take player in the league. He can look like a top 5 defenseman at
dude, he's
points.
like a region of Paul Coffey, and then he's Martin Marincin the next shift.
Yeah,
Like
it's,
honestly, I like his odds of figuring it out because he's 25 years old. This is only his 4th season in the NHL, if you can believe that.
The thing is, I'll say, Jacob, is that sometimes you just don't have it. Like especially the
I don't
net
know,
front
when
stuff.
I watch him play, I'm like,
The net front
seems
stuff,
like,
like
a matter of effort, to be honest.
honestly, I don't know if it is. I think the way, like, there's players who look like they don't care, but like it's just
I
the way
think
that they
it's-
skate or the posture. Like it's a
I
little
think
bit
it's the
different.
way he just
It
thinks
is
the
the point.
game. Like, I think he's just
Yeah.
such an offensive-minded guy that
Yeah.
sometimes those lapses just happen. Like, we saw it in the games
He
he
reminds
played
me of
against
a
the
better
Leafs
Morgan
this
Riley.
year.
He
In a
reminds me
way,
of a better
yeah.
Morgan Riley. Like better than prime Morgan Riley.
Yeah,
Honestly, he reminds me of Eric Carlson, to be honest with you.
in
But
a
I think,
couple ways.
but I think Carlson is a better defensive, or was better. Like prime Carlson was better defensive than
Yeah,
Bouchard.
prime Carlson was the best defenseman in the NHL,
Yeah.
like no
Yeah.
question, like
Yeah.
not even
Yeah.
maybe. I was gonna say not even close, but I mean, I'll lay off the gas a little bit there,
is
but
Bouchard in your top 10?
Yeah, I mean, listen, man.
I'd say
like,
top 10 probably, but he's not top
Like who are you
5
taking?
for
Like
sure.
I'm taking McCarr, so that's one. Hughes, Werenski.
Yeah, are we like going just this
Yeah.
season?
Well, I mean,
Like I would go if we're doing like not just the season, I'd probably go McCarr, Hughes, Heiskanen.
yeah, I go Heiskanen too.
yeah.
I think
Werenski.
Fox is up there too. I think people have forgotten
dude, I'm
how
sorry.
good.
Fox-
Dude, I think we're
Fox had a
forgetting how
crazy
good
fall
Fox
off.
is though.
I know, but like, come on.
That
dude,
was
he
just the
so-
season, dude. He was so good. This
He
guy's
was
won a
so-
Norris before. Like I
get
think
it,
we're
but
forgetting
he
how
was
good
so
Adam Fox is.
Terrible this year. Like
I think we're forgetting how good Adam
Okay,
Fox
it's the
is.
New York Rangers though. It's the 2025 New York Rangers.
I get it, but like,
Hey, I'm
Jesus,
just
dude,
saying
he
if
was,
we're
like, a
not
completely
just
different player
I'm
this year.
saying if we're not just counting this season, I still have Adam Fox in my top 5 because I think you've
I've
got to
got-
respect what he did the 2 years before this one.
I'm with you.
And
on
the
that,
fall off
Seb. I don't
isn't
know if he's
that
in my
crazy,
top
dude. He
five,
had
but
61 points this year,
Yeah, but do you remember?
and he was a
what-
point per game
do you
defenseman
remember-
last season.
Do you remember what his play was like? Like he didn't get a goal until like halfway through the year, and it was 2 empty netters. Like he wasn't producing like he did at all. It wasn't remotely close.
Hey,
Again,
I'm
to
just
be
saying,
fair,
I still think respecting what he did the 2 years prior to this one, if we're not just counting
Okay,
this
we gotta
season,
speed
I
this
still
up,
have
'cause
Fox in
I
my
do
top
have to
5.
wrap. I have to wrap
true.
soon.
yeah,
So-
Rasmus
True.
Dahlin's in mine somewhere.
Darlene would be up there too for me, yeah.
Yeah, but
Morrissey,
honestly,
too,
I think.
maybe.
Like, do you think Bouchard
Yeah,
at
maybe
his
Morrissey.
best in his career? Do you think he can be Brent Burns? I think he can be Brent Burns at his best. You know,
Yeah, I think so.
Probably, yeah.
he's the number 1 D man. So
Okay. Moving on. We'll stay in New York for this one. We were just talking about Fox, but Kreider straight to Anaheim. I like this deal for both teams actually. I think Kreider has the ability to bounce back. He was really injured last year. We know he's a very good playoff performer too. So I think
Another
he.
Leaf. I wanted.
Yeah, I
another
wanted
guy
the Leafs to go and try to get that, but I think he's gonna be a good mentor for guys like McTavish. If you are planning on keeping Zedrus, which I really don't know with Anaheim anymore, guys like Zedrus, I think he's a good mentor and he'll fit in the top six. Like he still scored 20 goals last season. Like I think
He'll be fine, I think.
he'll be fine. Yeah, and listen. We've said all there is to say about the Joel Quenneville hire, but Ellie Freeman on 32 Thoughts did say that Quenneville did call Kreider and did promise him, like, hey, you're going to be on the power play, you're going to play these top minutes, because that does matter for production. I think Freeman was saying that mattered to Kreider. So there's that relationship with the coach that he has. I think if he's healthy, there's a lot more there. I guess what just remains to be seen is how healthy can he get in comparison to where he was before, because of the back injury.
I think a big issue too is he had vertigo last year for a good chunk of the season. So that my money's on he'll be probably like I could see 30 goals honestly.
And on the Rangers side of things, you get rid of that contract, you need cap space. Like,
And they get the change that they want too. Like who screams New York Ranger more than Chris Kreider?
Igor Shesterkin.
Like the list isn't very long.
Yeah.
So I think both
JT,
teams kind of get what they
Igor
want.
Shesterkin.
Elias,
No,
Pettersson.
Elias Pettersson, you suck. You suck.
Yeah, I don't know. I know that trade was a while ago, so I know we're kind of running short on time here. I gotta like go in like 15 minutes, so we're gonna have to try
we
to
can
speed
wrap.
through here. But we don't have that many other things actually. Now that I think about it, but Jason Robertson looks like he. It's been a weird reporting around him too. It sounds like the Stars were shopping him heavily, I guess, just to see the value, like what can we get for this guy? And then Friedman said that teams were telling him that they're now like kind of pumping the brakes on it a little bit. I guess maybe they went out and they saw what they could get, and they're like, all right, let's see if we get a contract with him
Price
done.
is too high, maybe.
I mean, I know he's.
the situation.
I know he didn't have a fantastic playoff, but you've got an.
He started to
80-point
wake
guy.
up. Actually, it's just it was too late. Like by the time he actually did wake up.
I
You
thought
have an
he had
80-point
some
guy
sort of
signed
injury
for-
too.
You have an 80-point guy
Earlier
signed
this
for like
season.
It was early.
what was he make 7.7 million? Like I think you got to hang on to that even when you're trying to clear cap space. It's like,
Yeah,
I think the
he
Marshman
had
deal.
that breakout year, and then it's kind of been almost a little bit downhill since. Like he hasn't gotten back up to that point where we saw him in his breakout year.
I mean,
But
I
he
just
has still been a
35
good player.
goals
I
this
just
year.
think,
Still been
yeah,
80
like
points every year.
I just think that wasn't the player Jason
No.
Robertson is. I think this
That's
is
a
more
career
just
year.
like a point per game guy, and like that's
Yeah.
fine. That's a great player.
Great player.
That would be
They still
a
got-
lot of
they still
teams'
got
best
good
winger.
value out of him. If that was
we
Mitch
talked about
Marner, he'd be
Seattle,
making
dude.
11
If they're
million
gonna,
now.
if he's gonna get traded, Seattle should be all over that.
Well, I think he's staying in Dallas now. I think that Marshman deal was the
Yeah.
signal because they'll probably
Yeah.
bring back Ben now at a pretty cheap cost.
Yeah, like I think
that gives them the money.
I think another team that Friedman was talking about was Colorado, because everyone's like, oh, they need to make a move, and he's like, well, I don't think Colorado thinks that, which was definitely interesting.
Yeah,
But
Colorado
Dallas
made all
are
their moves.
trading.
Colorado made all their moves last season. I don't know what else they could really do.
I mean, they might move off of Charlie Coyle. I think that's one thing that's been out there. Like he wasn't a
Like
great.
you
fit
gave him
for
like
them.
20 games. Like, are you like at least try and give it like
Yeah, I mean,
try and
was
give it a
free
little
trade
bit
at the
longer.
time.
Like you
You
didn't
don't make
like
it
you
out of the
barely
first
had
round,
him.
though. Like you're right, but I don't think
That's like the
I
Leafs
don't-
moving off. That's like the Leafs moving off Scott Lawton
cap
right now
hit's not
because they're
great.
like the fit.
His cat. Okay, the difference is
I mean, I
Charlie Coyle
guess,
makes
but-
5.255 million.
I
Scott
don't
Lawton
know.
makes one.
If I was
if they want the
Colorado,
flexibility, it's there. I don't think it's ridiculous.
I didn't want to talk about Colorado that much, but what I was trying to get at is that I think Dallas is another team that kind of likes their roster. I think if you're gonna if you have to improve on anything, it's obviously the right side of your defense. You cannot bring back Lyubushkin and Dumba again as your two of your three guys. So yeah, I think
Cody Steve.
I think if you are going to trade Robertson, and I think Jacobs right, the Marchman deal kind of shows that they're going to try to bring back as many guys as possible. But
that was me who said that actually.
oh, sorry, it's Seb. Seb doesn't say very many smart things, so it kind of surprised me when he said that.
You said you were gonna. You said no comments. You said it.
No,
you
I
said
didn't
it.
To be fair,
you
he
said
he was
it.
gonna keep it
I
to a
said
minimum.
I will limit them. I said I
Yes.
will limit them. I did not say I will not say them.
Can't believe I'm
okay?
defending
You suck.
this guy right now.
You suck.
Yeah.
You suck.
So, another team that I want to talk about, who I think honestly, I think a lot of their fans were kind of like saying Robertson, if he's on the market, we should do everything we can to go after him. Was
For
Buffalo?
sure.
Buffalo is a team that they're in a weird, like they're trying. JJ Paterka isn't happy there, so they're gonna move him. That reporting was really weird from Paterka too. It went from the Sabres are not trading him. They don't want to trade him to. They're floating his name around. We'll see. They're just but they don't want to trade him. They're not interested in trading him.
Yeah, you know why they're doing that? It's because the Sabres don't have a fucking clue what they're doing. They got a bunch of people in that front office that don't have a clue.
No, but it was so funny with Friedman because at work I'll listen to like podcasts, and it's like, okay, Overdrive is done, SCP is done. All right, 32 Thoughts, because they upload like pretty much every day. And I was listening to the progression. Like I said, it was like they don't want to trade him. His name's not out there. They're not looking at it. He's unhappy, but the deal might get done. To his name's a little bit out there. They don't want to trade him, so like, there's not going to be a deal that's going to get done. To the Sabres are looking at what they might get for him. They don't want to trade him, but like we'll see. To all right, the Sabres are shopping this guy, and let's see what we could get for him.
I don't feel bad for Sabres management, but I feel bad
No.
for Buffalo fans because now
Yeah.
this is a situation where it's the organization's fault, but it's not their decision to move off of this guy. Like before, it was their decision to move off Sam Reinhart. It was pretty
But
much
you know
their
what?
decision to move off of Jack Eichel.
Is it their
This
decision?
one-
Because like, dude,
like
if you want to go
Cousins.
play in Germany, go fucking play in Germany. Like I don't know, we're gonna be shit
I
again
mean,
anyways. Like
He's an
Yeah,
RFA. They have his rights. Like
yeah, like I don't know. I just, to be honest with you, I put him in a chokehold and just wait to
Yeah,
see. Like,
I'd-
are you actually going to sit out a full year? Like, you're 23. Do you want to sit out a full year? Do you want to go back to
Yeah,
Europe?
I
I don't
don't
know.
know.
Do you?
That
what
would be
pressure is on the
interesting.
Sabres to be good next season?
Sorry, one other thing is the Olympics are coming up right now. Like they're right around the corner.
Yeah, and he was left off.
He was left off, but the reason why Freeman said he thought he might be left off is because he doesn't have a contract, and then that it gets a little tricky with insurance.
Yeah.
So if they're not going to take him because he has no contract, that's another reason why he won't sit out the year. So just wait it out. Just wait it out. If someone signs an offer sheet for him and he signs a deal, then match it. You have all the cap space. If it's too rich, then you know what? Take the fucking 4 first-round picks for JJ Paterka. I don't know. Like I kind of feel like you just wait it out and see what happens.
This doesn't have to do with Buffalo, but there's a little tidbit from Pagnota here. Among some of the changes coming Utah's way, including dangling the 4th overall pick, shopping Maselli, And then big forward Nick Bukestad will be hitting the UFA market, so he will be the UFA. That's the center we talked about earlier.
Yeah, I don't know. It's still
And then
third line center.
Maselli, and fourth overall being shocked by Utah.
I don't even know if Bukestad's a third line center. Man, he had 19 points last season.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's
But
had
yeah,
good
getting back to
years, though.
Buffalo, it's such a bad situation there because I think you're at the point where you were shit for so long and you drafted well for the first time in forever. Because if you look at their draft history, it's really
It's been
terrible
recently. It's been pretty decent.
recently. But you haven't seen. But we also don't really know that because we don't see what these guys are like at the NHL level yet, right? Like
Yeah.
I sent to our group chat a while ago. The NHL's Instagram account was doing like, oh, like the history of like
Yeah, like notable draft. And
Yeah,
every
draft
single
all-
guy is not on the
not,
Sabres.
and barely played for them too. Like
Yeah.
one of them was Brendan Hadel. They took a picture of him from the
Dude,
the
yeah, they
prospect
didn't even
camp,
have,
the
like-
development camp. Yeah. So I was like, all right, like I don't know, like that shows you how bad their drafting.
Picture of him in a
happened.
Sabres jersey.
Yeah. Jake McCabe was there. Like he barely played in Buffalo.
I mean,
No, he was a
I
Buffalo
don't think
for a
that's-
while.
I know,
was
but they did.
Buffalo for a while.
They also did nothing with them. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. He did play there for a
Is
while.
there,
But I don't know.
Is their drafting bad, or do they just not hang on to their players?
No, like
Dylan
they've been
Cousins was a
actually
good
pretty
draft pick.
decent drafting. They just can't hold on to these guys.
It's but
They
all-
can though.
I-
They just choose to trade them.
no, yeah, I don't know. Like yeah, I guess you're right. Actually, 'cause, like
They
Reinhardt
have
was
to
there,
move
like-
off of Sam Reinhart.
They had a contract dispute there where it's like, oh, they gave him the bridge, and then after, like, he wasn't happy. Like, I don't know.
The bridge was
I-
stupid.
Why
Yeah,
did
the
they
big-
give him the bridge? You
I know.
suck.
Yeah, like the bridge deals are for good teams that like kind of need to get underneath the cap. You had all the cap
Yeah,
in the
like,
world, like take a
what?
shot at it. But and I feel bad for Sabres fans too because again today like they had their like cup party at the Elbow Room, which is a big bar in Florida for all the NHL guys, and he was signing a Sabres jersey, and I'm like, oh,
That's gotta hurt.
like fuck, man. Like we're no stranger to it here in Toronto with like Kadri and Bozak and
Bozak,
everyone
Kessel.
leaving. They go and win cups, but like
Not
at least
Kadri.
like we make the playoffs and we still have like superstars on the team.
We
that
can have hope every year, right? Like we can feed into
Yeah.
some sort of delusion.
Like I know a bunch of Sabres fans, or not a bunch, I know a few, and they're just like, yeah, dude, like I don't really watch. I'm more of a fan of the sport now than anything. Like the Sabres are just kind of like the Sabres for me. Like I like, and honestly, I don't blame them, man. Like it's just been so terrible. Like
I really
it's hard
hope
to
they-
cheer for an
they turn it
organization
around.
like that.
Yeah.
And the thing that frustrates me with the Sabres is, as someone who's a fan of the sport of hockey and like to see teams succeed, is that they've got all the pieces.
As a
They-
fan of the Buffalo Bills, Buffalo is a crazy sports city. Like they get behind teams. Like it's like
They
the
love the
Bills are-
Sabres when they're good.
Dude, the Bills had a drought. I think it was just over 10 years for playoffs, but they still sold out games. Like the ticket, like people would go to the games and they got. And I know NFL is different because you don't have as many games, but still, they get behind you even when you're bad. But when you've been bad for this long, like the Sabres have been, it's hard to get behind. They sold out the Key Bank Center for their lacrosse team. Like I think their lacrosse team like they're a juggernaut. I think they've won like back-to-back championships in the
Jesus
NL,
Christ.
but they sold out that arena for the Bandits, or the Buffalo Bandits, which is the lacrosse team. And even when the Sabres were like just coming out of making the playoffs, they sold out arenas to watch them practice in the middle of the summer, dude. Like it wasn't
Yeah.
like they get behind these teams. Just like you have to put a product on the ice to like for people to like genuinely care about. And I've always talked about like, oh, Florida's annoying because like when their teams are shit, they don't show up. It's like it's so extreme with the Sabres that it's like. I get not showing up anymore because it's been like what 14 years and you still don't have anything to show for it.
And like they're probably they might move off of Paterka, probably gonna move off of Byram.
Yeah, that was the other name that I.
It's just
mentioned
it's
too,
just
Byram.
it's like
Byram in
every
the first
time they.
place.
I think it was that deal was really good for them. To be fair, like that was Casey
for
Middlestat
Middlestat,
for
yeah,
Byram,
dude,
and
yeah.
now they're gonna parlay Byram into another probably pretty good deal for them.
Let me cook here. Aaron Ekblad to Buffalo.
No, dude. What does that help with? Like I
Right-handed
don't know how to
D.
help that.
He's
Their best
right-handed.
right-handed is like what?
I
Nine,
guess,
argue?
but like, but I don't. Does that
They
move
don't have
the needle
Yoki
for
Haru
you?
anymore. He's in Boston.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're right. It's Jacob Bernard Docker.
Yeah,
Right
I
side,
don't know.
the right
Like,
side is terrible.
that Cousins trade was terrible. Norris is never healthy. Like, I
That was
don't-
a bad,
did they do
bad
that?
deal.
Dude, do you remember? I remember
was
getting on
forcing
the podcast,
Cousins was locked
and I
up.
said, "What?"
Cousins was locked up. They did not
Yeah.
need to do that.
So
I
is
remember-
Josh Norris.
No, but dude, I remember getting on this pod, and
On
Seb
the
said,
IR.
And I'm like, this is the biggest fleece of all time for the Ottawa Senators. And Seb's like, I don't think that. And then I walked him through, and he's like, you know what? I changed my mind. I think you're right. And I'm like, Norris is never healthy. He's like barely. He's like maybe around the same player as Cousins, but he's never healthy.
And the
Worst
best part
contract,
about that-
older. Like, I'm
Sorry,
like, I
the
don't
worst
get
part
it.
about that, Mateo, is that how many games did Josh Norris play for the Sabres before getting injured?
3.
Yeah, it was 3. And he got hurt again. Like, oh my god, dude. I like. It's like I should hate the Sabres because they're in the Atlantic Division, but I really
just
don't
feel
care
bad.
about them.
I feel
They have
bad.
not been good in the time I've been watching hockey. I just feel bad for them.
Like I listen to so much Buffalo sports stuff because where I live, like I'm pretty close to Buffalo. Like I'm like maybe an hour and a bit drive, like and then plus border traffic, obviously. But I got so much of it because I listen to the WGR, like, which is the Buffalo sports station, for Bills talk. But sometimes they talk about the Sabres, and I'm like, I love hockey. Like I'll listen to them talk about the Sabres, and then they start talking like, man, this is the precedent. And they start chirping the Leafs, and I'm like, usually I'm like, oh yeah, like you're chirping the Leafs, whatever. But like for them, I'm like, oh, I don't even really like get upset. Like I don't
Dude,
know. Like,
I was-
like what? I don't know.
Eyes
Dude,
on
I was
Sabres.
reading. I was reading like Diary of a Wimpy Kid the last time the Sabres made the playoffs.
I wasn't conscious yet. I don't like. I
Dude,
don't know
like,
what was going on.
Dude,
last
I
time the
was
Sabres
sitting
made the
in like
playoffs.
my grade 2
Okay,
classroom
hold on,
with like
hold
the
on.
little
I'm
tubes.
sorry to interrupt. This has nothing to do with Buffalo, but Brad Marchand is the biggest troll of all time. He is on his Instagram account right now. Look at his stories. He's taking a
seeing
picture
this
of
right
every single person on Florida, adding the NHL team they used to play for, and thanking them for letting them go.
Thanks Jets. Picture of Paul Maurice. Thanks
Yeah.
Blue Jackets. Picture of Bill Zito.
Yeah.
Thanks Blackets and Blackets.
Oh my
Blackhawks and
god, that guy's so drunk. There's
Who are these
no
Devils
way.
guys? I recognize Jesper Boqvist.
Is
I don't
that?
recognize the other guys.
I can't
Dude, that guy is so drunk right now.
Bill Zito, yeah, the Blue Jackets. Thank you for the yeah.
That guy is
Who
80
are these
beers
Devils
deep.
guys?
80 beers deep.
Good for him, man. Like I
Dude, he went. He said thank you to Philly for Bobrovsky. That was like, oh,
That's crazy.
Imagine Philly. Why did we catch that straight? What the hell?
Thank you, thank you Nashville for Alexander Radulov.
Oh my! He added Dale Talon for who is in between Ekblad. Is that Ekblad?
Dale Talon.
Dale
Is that
Talon?
Lindell? He's in between Ekblad and Barkov. Is that Lindell?
New York Rangers, that's Nico Mikkola. Canes, I think that's Forsling.
Thank you,
Thanks to
Flames
the
Senate.
MVP. Thanks Penguins for Rodriguez.
You guys see
Yo,
the
he kept us
picture?
over for Haiti one. Let's fucking go.
doesn't know.
Actually, that's
He
huge.
said, "Thank you, Tampa Bay Lightning. Thank you, KC Mavericks. Thank you, Syracuse Crunch for Haiti. We don't left
that's
out.
huge.
Let's
That's like
go."
AC Mavericks for
huge.
the Leafs. That's crazy.
I
That means
think,
he's coming
bro,
home.
Because he wants to sign here.
Dog. No. You're gonna laugh. He added the San Jose Sharks for Vitek Vanacek.
Crazy.
Thank you,
Vatican's
San
playing
Jose,
game.
for Vitek Vanacek.
Did you guys see the picture of Marchand? He had a cigar in his mouth, a beer under his arm.
Beer under his arm. That's so tough, dude.
That was
Dude,
tough.
get
so
that guy in a fucking Leaf jersey immediately.
Look,
All
man, I hate Brad Marchand as much as the next guy because he was a Bruin, but man, I'm honestly happy for him.
Bro, this
He
feels like a
finally gets
diss.
the
He
second
just
cup.
said he just said Mr. Waivers for Forsling.
Yeah, I know.
That
Thank
feels like
you,
a
Canucks.
diss.
All right, I gotta wrap because I gotta go to. I have a hockey game. I don't know if you guys want to keep going. I'll leave the call, but if you guys want to wrap too, we'll just wrap here.
Sure, we'll wrap. I wonder what made
yeah,
him
that's
choose the Wild as Kulikov's team because he's played for.
That's a great
20
question.
Teams.
Anyways, thank you guys for listening. We're definitely gonna try to do more pods now, especially with the off season kicking off. We'll
For
have a little
sure.
bit more to talk about. The Leafs off
Oh
season
my
will
god,
form
there's
a
gotta
little
be
bit more.
so much.
Yeah, thank you. I know, fuck, dude. I would have just left the Sabres out of it, like those poor fans, man. But yeah, thanks for listening. Our uploads will be more consistent. We're definitely gonna try. I think we're trying to our plans are trying to die down a little bit. I think Seb, what you're getting through school here, me and Jacob are working. It's just about finding time to actually do it. Summer's been pretty busy so far, but
Sure, we can.
yeah.
I think we just kind of slacked off on finding a time the past we were trying to find a time so bad for the Shanahan stuff, and it just it didn't work out. And then we
There
kinda
was
just
one
fell
night where
off.
we were there was one night where we were supposed to record and all three of us forgot. We woke up the next morning and we're like, we were supposed to record last night, weren't we?
forgot. Yeah, it's just stupid
Yeah,
shit
that
like
was
We're
tough.
locked in. We are locked
That
in.
was tough. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for listening. We'll be back soon. So enjoy the next couple of weeks here, and we hope, again, you guys enjoyed the pod.
See you soon.
Guys, see ya.